Next level, leagues above the devil. Flying higher than they said I would, they label me a rebel. Bogota barely as dope as me. Success the only thing that give me dopamine. A legend, the only thing that I'm supposed to be. Everything's the only thing that's owed to me. Yeah, I want it all, my baby. I didn't come to watch, I came to ball, my baby.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of Drift Masters 2025. You are joining us live from Mondello Park here in Kildare in Ireland, where the scene has been set for a scorching top 16. Top 32 was an absolute cookout. My name is Ian Waddington, and you're joined alongside me by my good friend, Jacob Gettins. Jacob, top 16 is going to be anything but spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, top 32 just set the bar so high with some of the biggest names in the sport already going out and setting up some of the craziest battles. We've got wild cards going against multiple-time champions. We've got the Irish still in it, fighting for it. We got Connor having to just hold on for dear life to keep that top spot in the championship. Who knows what's going to happen once this day wraps up, but we're all along for an incredible ride.
We certainly are, yeah. Look, some big names going out in our top 32, but names in the championship, 4th and 5th, Kvia and Heinonen still in it. Randalu and Shanahan still in it. So by the end of the day, who knows how the championship is going to sit. We're at round 4, but we're going to move this through all the way. The road, the journey is to the PGA Narodow Way in Poland, in Warsaw, in the capital, the Red Bull Drift Masters final. And we started it all off in Spain, where Oliver Randalu took the win. Then it was all the way to Finland, where Connor Shanahan got back on the podium after a drought, nearly a year off. Kildare in Ireland, well, we're right here, right now. Today we decide who takes that win. Then, as we say, it's Riga, baby. We're back to Latvia. Then Ferropolis, the Iron City, where it's decided with concrete walls and steel. And then, as I said, every road leads to the PGA Narodow Way in Warsaw in Poland for the Red Bull Drift Masters final. It's going to be unbelievable. We've got a packed 55,000 seats with not only drifting, but spectacular shows all the way through. I'm excited for that one, but I'm also excited for today's top 16.
Yeah, it's just going to be epic. This entire year is a complete blur already. Every time that I'm like, oh, okay, I think I'm getting settled. I think I know what's going to happen next. Something crazy happens, and this is where we stand going into this round. Absolutely nuts. Look at how tight that points race is for our top 8.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we've still got points to add to that from qualifying yesterday and today of the drivers of how they've progressed already through competition. Shanahan leading the points with 152. Dean out of competition, though, so he's now going to start bleeding points to Randalu and Shanahan, with Kvia and Heinonen gaining points on him. Let's take a look back at some of the action that happened in top 32, because it was absolutely unbelievable. We see a heated battle between Clint Van Oort and Marco Zacharil. They had to go at it one more time, where unfortunately Clint Van Oort threw that car off circuit, giving Marco Zacharil the win, and we see what it meant to that young man. That Czech driver jumped out of the car. He was ecstatic after that hard-hitting battle. Yesterday, though, he got the job done in qualifying showdown, where he battled Connor Shanahan in the final of it.
Yeah, and put on such an incredible show throughout the entire thing, and ultimately getting the win here over the Dutchman. And then that kind of moves into one of the battles that I just was looking forward to the whole time. And this was nuts. Connor Falvey, Daigo Saito getting really scrappy all the way through. Connor Falvey throwing it down, holding that flag high as the Japanese driver, making some contact, ultimately knocking a crazy amount of tow out of that car, breaking suspension. But the team over at Drift Games able to get everything back together and get him back out there to battle the legend in what was a breathtaking final battle between those drivers.
Yeah, and then we went on to see Harry Kerr, a young blood in Irish drifting, making his name known in Irish drifting, take on Dwayne McKeever. But it was a D-beaded tyre that would see Harry Kerr unfortunately bow out of competition, allowing Dwayne McKeever to progress through to the top 16. McKeever starting to find some redemption after a very hard year for the Irishman. You can see what it meant to the team there. A little fist bump to the camera, and there you see it, that D-beaded tyre, unfortunately for Harry Kerr, taking him out of competition just like that. But a name that no one's going to forget, and a name we'll remember. This battle, or again, another heater between these two guys. It had to go one more time. Przygonski to take on Fionn Roach. They had to go at it. GT86 versus Toyota GR86, and the Polishman in the end getting the win. That little tag on the door, stamping some authority.
Yeah, it was nuts. Kuba's got this car down, but Fionn Roach taking it to him, making him battle through that one more time. Fionn Roach, I mean, he is climbing through. He's looking for every little bit of a win that he can get in this. Not having the best season so far, but this little bit of hope should carry him so far as we get into these next set of rounds.
It certainly should do, and you can see what it meant again for Kuba Przygonski, another man finding some form. But a man that was not that happy after his performance was James Dean, after this big mistake on initiation in his chase against Kevin Pesur. Kevin Pesur, Again, another driver that jumped out of the car in elation when he got the decision. We could see what it meant to him in the paddock. He was absolutely over the moon, and no doubt he took down one of the biggest names in Irish drifting on home soil here in front of his home crowd in undoubtedly one of the best cars on the grid. Kevin Pesur, a name to be reckoned with this weekend, but James Dean, as you can see there, fired on that angle. He knew that Pesur was quick, and he said, I had to fire everything at him.
James,
Let's hear from James right now.
Wanted the weekend to go, but look, a brand new car, a brand new chassis. All of the developments are leading to this moment here, and this weekend it hasn't gone the way that you wanted to.
No, definitely not. Absolutely the last result I wanted this weekend, especially bringing this car to Ireland. I really wanted to put on a show, and I feel like I let my Irish fans down, but I tried my best. I knew I had to chase hard. He was chasing me really hard, and his car is really fast off the line, and he had a little bit of a gap by the entry, and I just flicked it. It went to too much angle. And yeah, I'm glad that I managed to hold on to it and rescue some of the run, but very disappointed. But once again, thank you to all the best Irish fans for supporting me no matter where I go. Yeah, we'll be back next year, and we'll have a point to prove for sure.
So there you go. That was how James Dean felt after, unfortunately, getting himself knocked out of competition. And then we went to the top 16 parade, where we brought all of the 16 drivers out in front of them, a huge crowd here in Mondello Park, for them to cheer on their favourite drivers. And everybody got involved. Kvia actually had a smile on his face in the parade after earlier on, when he had an upside-down smile, shall we say.
Yeah,
and Connor Shanahan got a huge round of applause from all of the crowd here, our home favourite, in front of a packed-out grandstand. You can see what it meant, but a lot of Polish flags flying for this man, another man that is very respected in Ireland. Of course, the man that top qualifying yesterday, Peter Wiecek.
Yeah, the support for him, I mean, people making the travel, the trip, there's people from all over the world deciding to come here to cheer him on, and you know Laurie's brought the fans as well, and a big round of applause there, but not as big as another hometown hero here in Jack Shanahan, who's fighting his way through. It's just been incredible, and the fans' reaction to everybody has been amazing. The support, this is such a magical place.
It certainly is a magical place, and we let Dave Egan go out there and do the hosting for that event. It felt right, you know. Unfortunately, he had a bad weekend this weekend, and we thought, you know what, we're going to let him go out there and hype up the crowd that he knows so well here in Mondello Park. And this is what we're looking at, or this is what the drivers are looking to face this afternoon in top 16. You can see it. It looks pretty simple. It looks like an oval with a little initiation, but Jacob, it is far from that, as we know.
Yeah, it is anything but simple. It is so crazy. So you fire down the straight, grabbing the gears all the way through, and then you get into that initiation, get the car sideways to that first outside zone, then straddle that line all the way through, grab that inside clip and push the car nice and wide to our next outside zone. Then transition, you get a small chance to slow the car down from 150 kilometers an hour around the fourth big sweeping outside zone in front of all the fans, transitioning out to 5, and then another quick time to slow down through this last big outside zone along 2 walls, and then push that car nice and wide but not onto the grass and across the line.
It seems simple. It is far from that. As you run down that hill, you're looking at the roof of the grandstand right in front of you. That is all you can see. It is almost blind, and as you can see now, scenes down the back and everyone saying good luck, everyone wishing Peter Wiecek good luck, as he now will face off in the first battle of our top 16. Let's take a look, though, at what these guys are battling, who they're battling, sorry, in this afternoon's top 16. This is the battle tree. It's going to be Wiecek to take on Olsen, Korpulinski to take on Jack Shanahan, Zacharil, Jylha, Falvey versus Randalu, Connor Shanahan versus McKeever, Pöythalaakso versus Heinonen, Przygonski versus Pesur, Kvia versus Krol. Heavy-hitting battles all the way through. Every battle. We said it in top 32, we say it all the time, they could be final battles.
Yeah, every single one of these drivers had to go to complete war just to get this opportunity to then face off against another driver who's probably on an absolute heater. There was no easy victory when it came to our top 32, and what that means is that top 16 is going to be insane. There is going to be carnage, there's going to be contact, and there is going to be one person standing on that podium a little bit later on happy about their weekend.
Well, we started off the weekend with 41 drivers. We whittled them down to 32, and now we're going to whittle it down to just one winner this weekend here in Mondello Park. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats. Get right to the edge of your seat, because that's all you're going to need. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for top 16. Well, the stage is set for what could be an unbelievable round of Drift Masters here in Mondello Park. Every year we come back here, we say there can't be more pace carried over the hill, there can't be more door-on-door battles, but there are every year. Every driver steps up the level to another level. They go beyond the level they've ever gone beyond before. And now Wiecek sits on the line against a man, a wild card, who has made his way somehow into the top 16. And now he's sitting alongside Peter Wiecek saying, well, if I could take down some other big names, I could take you down. He's in an incredible machine. Simon Olsen from Norway sits alongside, stares down the track at Peter Wiecek, our 99.5 first place qualifier from yesterday. He creeps off the line. Wiecek slides off the line in that incredible A90 Supra. Through the gears they come, and Olsen will not let Wiecek get away as he fires through initiation. Wiecek a little understeer, slows the car down, but now picks it back up again. Fires on big angle, gets into the outside zone. He's going to go wide though. He holds on to it. Olsen stands on the foot brake and balances that carbon Kevlar S15 right where it needs to be. As now Wiecek finds that perfect qualifying line, flames are up from the back of the car as he pushes it across the line.
Yeah, an interesting way to get things kicked off. I mean, Piotr Wiecek, who looked so calculated and dialed all the way through, starting to show a few flaws here and there, going a little bit wide in a few spots, and Simon Olsen having to do his best to keep up that compression zone. We're going to talk a lot about it. It's so hard on the cars, it's so hard on the drivers, and that G-force slamming them into the side of the vehicle as they try and wrangle everything in to get it through these zones. And there it is, Piotr Wiecek on throttle all the way through these transitions, and Simon Olsen having to cut some line just to gain that proximity back. And Wiecek just able to get the traction down, able to get the speed there, and Simon has to be put on the back foot in order to just get some proximity by the end of the run, but doesn't give up, doesn't falter, does what he needs to do in order to stay in this battle.
Yeah, he certainly does, and Simon also keeps himself in it. Look at this, those beautiful shots from our Phantom slow-mo camera. You see Peter Wiecek there right to the outside. You can see when he stands on the throttle, the smoke starting to erupt from the back of that A90 Supra. Well, they're back on the line, ready to rock and roll, and you can see Olsen now in that lead position. Peter Wiecek absolutely focused, stares down, wants to get the job done and move himself into the top 8. As the car slamming into gear, we wait for the green light, and it is time for go. As you can see, Peter Wiecek there pedaling the car, trying to get that grip down, doesn't want to let Olsen get away, as Olsen now works his way through the gears, flicks that car to angle on initiation. And look at this from Wiecek, absolutely beautiful, onto the side of that carbon Kevlar S15, as now Wiecek goes for it again, a little wobble, and Simon Olsen sets himself up for that outside zone. Back across the track they go, back once again as Wiecek dives through the smoke, looks for the door, hunting down Simon Olsen as he pushes the Norwegian across the line.
Yeah, Simon just really running through this, but it is so difficult when you've got a driver like Piotr Wiecek following in behind you, 99.5 qualifying run. You know he's going to be perfect when he needs to be perfect. Simon Olsen with a ton of speed coming through this, chucks that angle all the way out and holds it quite well, although not all the way out to that zone, but Piotr uses that opportunity to get back in. We see the big backfire, that flame coming out of the back of the Supra, and Piotr just completely locked in. As we've talked about before, we don't think these drivers blink at any point in time during these runs, completely on top of Simon Olsen. They come through these zones, and Simon just trying to get away from Piotr, who's hunting him down. But Simon, really, really good job in a car that he's only driven a handful of times with an engine package that, I mean, might be familiar, but everything's so different for him. And I mean, even the part, this is right-hand drive. That's not what he's used to.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything is against him in this battle, including a 3-time champion here. So wow, what a great way to kick off here in our top 16.
Yeah, an incredible way to kick off top 16. Peter Wiecek doing everything he needed to do in that battle. It was, and Simon Olsen says to him, look, that was a good battle, but I don't think I got the win. Slide him left for Olsen, right for Wiecek. Who's going to go through to the top 8? Will it be Poland or Norway? It's going to be Poland. Wiecek gets a win and one closer to a step on the podium as Wiecek business as usual, but he says a sigh of relief. Olsen not an easy competitor.
No, not at all. And hey, maybe this is the opportunity to convince Simon to make the jump over. Who knows? This could be the start of something incredible.
It certainly could be. It'd be good to see Simon Olsen in a full season of Drift Masters, that's for sure. He's got the talent and he's got the right mindset. We go back to the line. Jack Shanahan now sits on the line against Pavel Korpulinski. Korpulinski getting the win earlier against Kevin Pesur.
Yeah, both drivers having to battle through just to get to this point, and this is really, really interesting. Another battle of incredible precision versus a bit of a wild man in Jack Shanahan. So how does that pairing meet up? Well, we're going to find out here.
Yeah, we certainly are going to find out here. As Shanahan almost jumps that start line, he can do that. It is legal for him to do as he comes through now, through the gears, down they come. Look at this, Shanahan onto the back bumper already. A big flick from Pavel Korpulinski. Shanahan opens up the angle, trying to gain some ground back, but he's gone too hard. Takes the whole front end off off of the GT86. As Shanahan now, can he manage to get around as Korpulinski balances that S14 right where it needs to be? Shanahan trying to get himself back into the fight as Korpulinski takes it to the wall. Shanahan on the door, across the line.
Holy, millimeters away from complete carnage, and that just shows how tight Jack Shanahan needs to be onto Pavel Korpulinski, because he is an incredibly technical driver, and Jack Shanahan was going to have to pull something out crazy. But right off initiation, Jack is with him, parallel all the way through, but Pavel able to get that speed, able to get that proximity to that outside zone, and there's Jack locked completely in, gets down that gear, and then thinks about grabbing the e-brake, but holds on just for another minute to gain that proximity, and then through that transition, that's where we see a Jack a little bit out of sorts, a little bit deeper on that line, but transitions when he absolutely has to. Wow. That was crazy. Jack was floating way out there. So much speed to gain that proximity, but you can see it not even flinched. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He is just robotic in that. That was a wild run. And then through the rest of this, Jack missing bits and parts of his car, not phased at any point. But Pavel, business as usual, as you say, gets through the rest of the run.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he's completely calculated as Pavel Korpulinski. You can trust his line driving because we know he's going to push that car to the limit, 110%. You can see the shredded body panels there of Jack's Toyota GT86 discarded to the side of the track. He's going to scrub the tyres on the front of that car as our start line Marshall Martin and Jylha down there going to rip off the back bumper.
Yeah,
not needed anymore.
It's lucky that is the only damage that was done there, because it was a good impact, but it shows the difference on how close you can be. A couple millimeters difference is that between perfection and a little bit of carnage, and even a little bit deeper, that could have been an entire run done.
The judges going back over the replay. They've got a few seconds there while the cars go back to the line, and you can see the judges going back over. So you see Jack Shanahan pull to the line. And it looks like Starline Marshall Martin's just going to give a quick check over the car, make sure there's nothing hanging off of there that could cause any issues. It looks like we need some gaffer tape.
A little bit, yeah. Gaffer tape, speed tape.
Speed tape. I'll get it.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
There we go. He's like a postman.
It is. I mean, he's an artist, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
Look at that.
Accentuate the body lines. It's great. Functional, but beautiful.
Like a livery.
Yeah, it could. Oh man, a Marson livery.
A Marson livery.
We should do that.
Yeah, famous.
Yeah.
Here we go. Thumbs up all around from our drivers. Door slam closed on Shanahan's car. Could we see a little bit of redemption here for Shanahan? Is he going to go for it? Push too hard maybe as he comes through the gears down there over the hill as he flicks that car nice and early to our angle. Already lighting the tyres on the back of that GT86. Gets himself set up nicely. Now Pavel Korpulinski goes a little wide, drops wheels over the edge of the track as Shanahan finds the outside zone. Korpulinski finds the pocket, puts the front bumper right up onto the door. Shanahan bursts through the smoke. Shanahan on the wall as Korpulinski looks for the door once again, trying to find anything in this one as he goes wheel to wheel across the line.
And Korpulinski, you could not tell that he took that damage earlier on, and Jack, same thing. They're going for it, absolutely going for it. Jack probably feeling like there might have been an issue as we see his spotter Mats there with a little bit of concern on his face, but Jack right out there throwing that car as hard as he can, pushing as far out as possible into that outside zone. As he comes through, you can see that transition, but Pavel falls back just a touch and able to get back into the pocket into outside zone 4 and just holds it there. And even through these transitions, does an amazing job as we see Jack feeding that handbrake to get the car out nice and wide, looking for any traction that he can after he releases the handbrake, gets back on throttle, bit of a left foot brake there. Those tiny little corrections, the judges are going to see every single one of it. But at the end of the day, he gets through the run, fills all the zones, grinds the top of the wall, and puts on a big show here for all the Irish fans.
I love the way the spoiler hangs over the wall.
That's on purpose. You know they've measured that out and went, okay, how tall are the walls here?
Yeah, where are the cones going to be?
Exactly, yeah. Maybe a little titanium at the bottom, get some sparks going. I mean, if nothing, he's a showman, that's for sure. You can see there just how much angle these cars are able to get these days, and the driver's using every single bit of it whenever possible.
Well, taken a battering this weekend as Jack Shanahan's Toyota GT86, he throws his hands up and he can't believe what has happened there. And it just comes down to how the judges deem it. Do they deem Jack Shanahan at fault? Didn't look like there was any reason for Pavel Korpulinski to be at fault, but we aren't the judges, as we say, Jacob.
No, we are not. I mean, that is one small mistake, but I will say Jack's runs were incredible outside of that one thing. That being said, Pavel just solid. He is one of the best line drivers we have here.
Yeah.
He is incredible with it. It's really like he goes out and drives and the judges kind of go, okay, well, this is where we want you.
Yeah, it's almost like you can use him as a demonstration because his line driving is so good. Here we go, decisions in from our judges. Slide them left for Korpulinski, right for Shanahan. It's one vote for Korpulinski. It's for Korpulinski getting the win and advancing through, and Shanahan shakes his head. Korpulinski puts his hands on his cheeks and says, well, I'm not quite sure how that happened, but hey, here we are. Judges, you were saying to me in the headset that it was Jack Shanahan at fault for the incident there.
Yeah, we saw that Pavel was a little bit over-angling at outer zone 3. That means like small slowing because of the angle. However, we still believe that the chaser should be able to adjust his run slightly and not hit the leader in the way how it happened. Because when they turned around, there was a very similar mistake on the other side too, and there was no contact there. And then if we look on the chase runs from outer zone 3 onwards, there is a big difference in those where Pavel was able to be very close, where Jack was not able to.
Thank you very much, David. And yeah, there we go. Jack Shanahan, visibly annoyed with the decision, decided to finish off the tyres, and then the car caught on fire. So,
I mean, hey, he went out with a bang.
He went out with a bang. There we go. There we go. So, yeah, Jack Shanahan at fault. Should have.
Hey, happens.
It happens. We've seen it a lot this weekend. We go back on the line to another heavy hitting battle. It's going to be Marco Zacharil to take on Jylha OMT. Marco Zacharil, the higher qualifier, deciding to chase. If you're new here to Drift Masters or you haven't watched Top 32 or today or the rest of the season, I suggest you go back to Red Bull TV and watch it all because it's been phenomenal so far. But if you are the higher qualifier, you get to lead or chase first. And a lot of these newer drivers, these younger drivers coming through, they're deciding to mix it up a little bit. They're deciding they want to chase first. But the older generation that we've noticed stick to the normal game plan. Marco Zacharil in this situation has pulled up to the chase line as Jylha OMT has asked a question by Marco Zacharil. You lay down that 99-point run. Show me what you've got. Show me your hand. And I'll use all the fresh tyres I've got to put it on your door. We wait to get the light and the thumbs up from our start line Marshall Martin. The shirt's on, the light goes green. They slam into the gears and through the start line as Marco Zacharil works his way through the gears onto the back bumper of the Finnish driver's Toyota Chaser. Fires down into the initiation zone, and Marco Zacharil dials on more angle to avoid any such incident this time. Now works his way into that groove. Look at him, dialed in, onto the door he goes. Left foot braking as Jylha OMT leads them through the centre of the circuit. Euler up to the wall. Zacharil, strange line on the inside of the circuit, now has to work to get back onto the side of that JZX 100.
Yeah, Jylha OMT, I mean, very composed all the way through the run. Nice and floaty and just smooth and solid and everything that you want in that lead. And that gave Marco Zacharil such an amazing opportunity to get into the pocket, get into the side of the door, all the way through the run. And unfortunately, there was that mistake as he came through that last zone. We'll see how that ends up playing through this entire run as we get that on board. You can see drivers using every element, gas, clutch, brakes, handbrake, shifters, to keep these cars balanced and stable and through all these zones. We're asking them to do the impossible every time and then to do it again, but behind someone else who's doing the same. It is it's a ridiculous sport. What we ask these drivers to do is absolutely incredible, and they really do make it look easy. Jylha OMT, incredible run out there, but Marco Zacharil with that small mistake, and we'll have to see how that plays out once they swap things around. Oh, this is an interesting angle. This is our initiation here. Look at picking up the front wheel, just getting that transition going, and you can watch the weight transfer from one side to the other, and that big chaser swinging it around.
Look, our cameraman, Adi, who runs the Phantom Slow-Mo camera, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
He gets himself into some real positions and situations, and not sure what's happening here. Our start line Marshall Martin signalling to Marco Zacharil, showing him the clock, and then signalling to pull to the line. Zacharil maybe needing the car just cooled down. I think Martin just showing him that there is still time. If you want to come up and get your car cooled very quickly, you can do it. And yeah, he gets a nod from Zacharil to say, no, we're all good, ready to go. As Jylha OMT pulls into that chase position. And you can hear the anti-lag already building on Marco Zacharil's car. He's ready to go. He starts to apply the pressure to the handbrake to get a good launch off the line as Jylha OMT breaks through that start line. Down through the gears they come, over the hill. Big initiation from both guys. Jylha OMT not kept in the dark though. Look at this, firing through. The Finnish driver wants this one. It's a beautiful lead and chase so far from both guys as Jylha starts to put that chase right where it needs to be. A little shy on some of those transitions from Zacharil, though, not as deep into the zones we'd like to see. And now Jylha loses some ground as Zacharil takes it over the line.
Yeah, really interesting. Both drivers struggling in our second very large outside zone, and the judges will be taking a look at that, flipping back and forth to really understand how the whole thing looked. But Zacharil out front, another great lead run from him, completely out to these zones, pushing as hard as he can. Well, Jylha chasing in behind with that vehicle that is just much bigger, but able to fling things around and just stable while he is chasing Zacharil. So great run here from both drivers, but I really do think it is going to come down to that second large outside zone because both drivers were struggling to keep the car reined in, taking a tighter line to try and gain that proximity before they come through that last zone. So that's a lot of what the judges are going to be looking for, is who is able to keep that proximity, fill that zone, keep that angle in the chase, because both leads were absolutely incredible.
They certainly were, and it was an incredible battle from both these guys. A few mistakes creeping in here and there, but nothing that was...
It's going to happen. And
I think, well, I was just sorry again.
No, please.
I just looked across and see the judges deliberating.
Yeah.
And I think that goes to show, if me and you are kind of not sure, and you guys at home aren't sure, then the judges, we're all in this agreement. The judges are still, talking about this one. It's not as clear-cut as we maybe first thought.
It becomes one of those situations when you have two incredible lead runs. It gives all the opportunity. Then you start looking at the chase, and then they start picking it apart and looking for those little moments, and it becomes who has less of those little moments between the two drivers.
Exactly that. There we go. They're both out of the car, looking at the big screen, trying to get that decision. Can the weekend carry on for Zacharil? Will it be all over? Left for Jylha, right for Zacharil. It's going to be a one more time. Zacharil over the moon with that. He says yes.
Yeah, and I completely agree.
I agree.
We were splitting hairs. They had those mistakes, but it seems like they balanced each other out.
Exactly that. So those guys going to go back to a one more time battle. Jylha and Zacharil get to do it again. And he's happy. He's having a good weekend so far. That car being put through his pace as we go back to the start line. It's going to be Oliver Randalu to take on Falvey now. Championship implications in this one, because Randalu now into the top 16 with James Dean out of competition in top 32. Randalu now starting to gain some points away from James Dean, but hot on his heels is going to be Kvia and Heinonen. So Randalu is going to want to get this win to try and secure second place a little bit more before we head to Riga.
Yeah, Falvey is not going to let him, though. He's not an easy run.
Falvey was rookie last year, and he says, I'm not a rookie anymore. You need to stop calling me a rookie. I'm a driver. I'm in this. Ooh, and we got a false start.
Here we go. So this is where the laser beams come into play, which is something I never thought I would say in drifting.
Yeah, laser beams in drifting. So, yeah, we've got that laser beam across at the front of the start of the lead car. And once that light goes green, the lead driver has 1.5 seconds to break the beam. So we're going to have to see it here. They get the thumbs up both sides, or if they jump it early.
Oh, Falvey just a touch.
Too early.
Just a touch.
Do you know what I think it was? I think he heard Randalu and saw Randalu at the corner of his eye. And he went, and he went.
Interesting. Not that these drivers are playing games, but every advantage you can take, why not take it?
Well, you only get a couple of strikes. And then you start to, feel the wrath of drift masters behind the scenes. Here we go, they get a clean one this time. They come through the gears. It's going to be Falvey to lead out Oliver Randalu through the gears. Falvey fires that car in. The carbon Kevlar S15 being put to work this weekend. But look at this from Randalu. He's not second in the championship for nothing as Randalu, the Estonian, fires onto the rear bumper, the side of that carbon Kevlar S15. As Falvey puts it where it needs to be. There is no shaking Oliver Randalu right now. He is turned up to 100. He's feeling good, and he's absolutely bullying Falvey.
Wow. You would have no idea that Oliver Randalu was sitting in 15th place last year. This is a driver that looks like he's been battling for championships the entire time, but Falvey driving well above his years, dragging Oliver Randalu into deep waters, pushing as far as he can into these zones, and trying to shake Oliver Randalu, who will not be shaken through any of it. Look at Falvey through that transition, grabbing that e-brake, getting all the way out to that zone. But look at this transition, that timing from the expert Estonian getting into the pocket. What an incredibly gutsy thing to be able to do. But Falvey will give you that opportunity. He's going to hang the car out. He's very predictable in the lead, and he's going to give you that chance to run his door. And if you don't take it, you're not going home with the win.
Exactly that. Look, Falvey's running such a nice line in that lead position. It's absolutely perfect. Right where he needs to be. Good qualifying runs yesterday from Falvey, 12th place for him. Randalu, not so good, down in 28th. So it just goes to show you, Falvey's giving Randalu the opportunity for a very good chase. And fair play to Randalu because he took all of that opportunity.
Yes, he did. So as they swap this around, Connor Falvey definitely has a spotter in his ear going, you're going to have to take his door off through this entire run. And Oliver Randalu will give him that opportunity.
Well, he will do, that's for sure. As they come off the line through the gears, Connor Falvey will feel pumped up. He'll know that he can't let Oliver Randalu take an inch here as Randalu fires in that yellow E46 BMW. Falvey goes for a big dive down on the inside. Backs off a little bit on that transition now. Works his way back in to the outside zone. But look at Randalu. That car is turned up to 100 as now Falvey shortcuts the circuit ever so slightly to try and get into the side of that E46 BMW. But Randalu is up and gone.
Wow, super, super fast there from Randalu. But I think once we stop back, take a look at some of these replays, you're going to see a couple of interesting moments from Oliver Randalu in some places that we don't actually talk about too much throughout this run. So on his initiation, watch this dotted line. He's supposed to be straddling that, and he goes just a little bit wide.
Yeah.
So that is an opportunity. Then we see that wheel change there. Now, Randalu incredibly fast, but Connor through here actually has a little bit more angle. Now they transition out. Connor's got to make that dive. He's got to get back into this battle. And right there, you can see just how much he's fighting for, but looks calm throughout the entire thing. But Oliver Randalu has so much speed and so much aggression through this run. He is watching that points race. He knows he has to take out Connor Falvey, who is trying to cement himself as one of the best drivers to come out of this country in front of his home crowd. Man, what a run.
What a run from both those guys. Connor Falvey, I think he got a little bit surprised there by some of the moves that Oliver Randalu was pulling, and that just comes from experience from Oliver Randalu being in the championship for a while. As we see some beautiful shots here on our screen, and look at Oliver Randalu.
Yeah, locked
in. Absolutely locked in. Well, they're out of the car having a discussion. No one knows what way this is going to go. It looks like the decision is dropping in from our judges. Well, what way is it going to be? Is it going to be left for Falvey, right for Randalu? It's one for Falvey. It's Connor Falvey gets the win, advances through to the top 8, and we have to come to you, David Kalas. I'm going to say I counted the Irishman out of that.
At the first glance, it looks that the proximity was better from Oliver Randalu. However, everything comes to our briefing, where we were saying that the first corner is very, very important. And here you can see how Oliver is running and pulls handbrake in really bad position, which makes him bobble and puts Falvey away from him. Then Falvey is trying to catch back, but that was caused by Randalu's mistake. That's why Connor Falvey was able to go forward, because he gave to Randalu better possibility to chase.
Thank you very much, David. So there we go. Look, we was told about this. The first corner was going to be the decider. I didn't see the handbrake pull for Randalu, but hey, mistakes happen. Becky's down there on the ground. Becky, it is unbelievable already.
Unbelievable, yes, absolutely, Ian. Connor, a look of relief on your face there as you thought it wasn't going to go your way. Can you tell us what's going through your mind? You're into the top 8.
Oh my God, it's the best feeling ever, to be honest, in front of a home crowd. The atmosphere is just electric, and to be true to another top 8 is absolutely unbelievable.
We've got to talk about that battle that you had with Daigo Saito as well. I mean, to drive with one of these legends on this track, what was that like?
Oh, that was unbelievable. I remember watching Daigo here when I was like 6 or 7 years old, so the battle was really surreal, and it was a good battle. Unfortunately, a couple of mistakes, but I was just glad to get into the top 16.
Well, congratulations, Connor Falvey, and we'll see you in the top 8.
Thank you.
Well, there we go, into the top 8 in front of his home crowd. He must be feeling on top of the moon. Look, I'm not going to lie, I counted Connor Falvey out of that. Yeah, I see the separation, and I was like, but then you pointed out, you know, that dotted white line, the car should have been straddling it. Yeah, I missed that completely. But then neither of us see the handbrake pull.
Yeah, and this is why the judges get paid the big bucks, because they spot the stuff that we don't.
They don't get paid. You've just given away a secret.
No.
Right, back on the start line we go. Let's forget about that. It's going to be McKeever versus Connor Shanahan. Now, again, another battle for the ages. These two guys have battled here numerous times.
Yeah.
It's gone either way numerous times. But right now, this weekend, it matters for both of them. Dwayne McKeever down the points at the bottom of the championship. He needs to get himself back up into the fight for 2026. Connor Shanahan, he wants to be the 2025 champion. He wants to be a 2-time Drift Masters champion. This could be the weekend the championship flips for him as he comes through. The gears are down. McKeever's on the back bumper of that GT86 and closer than anyone else as McKeever goes for the rear wheel. He washes wide but holds on to it. Shanahan fires into the outside zone. McKeever deals with it as they both put it right where they need to be. Shanahan now scrubs a little angle, trying to drive away from McKeever. As McKeever now looks for the side again of that GT86 and parks it on the door across the line.
Oh, man. Dwayne McKeever, I swear, has X-ray vision. He was bathing in smoke for so long on that transition, and it just punches through, knows exactly where Connor Shanahan's going to be. Through the gears, off the line here, both drivers locked in, completely in sync as they come through this section, doing a great job as they come through. Look at how long Dwayne is in the smoke behind Connor Shanahan. It must have felt like forever, but doesn't care, gets back on it, knows that his fellow countryman is able to get in there, is able to get right to the side of him and push through. This is such a great run here from both these drivers. Oh man, this is what I missed not living in Ireland my entire life. These are the type of battles that you would have seen growing up, and it's crazy that now we're getting it here at Drift Masters. So, oh man. I'm so happy that we get to witness this again at this level now.
It's good to watch it over and over again.
Yeah,
you can never get bored of watching the Irish drivers at their home track going head to head.
They just pull out things and they drive it away. Like, it just elevates everybody, the energy that they get from it. And now that they swap things around, Dwayne knows that he put in a crazy chase. Connor, what is he going to do next?
Well, there was some mistakes from McKeever in the chase. We'll just leave that there for now. He's going to have to put down an immaculate lead run, that's for sure, as he slams through the gears. We know Shanahan's got what it takes, and look at this from Shanahan, repaying the favour even closer than McKeever on initiation. That didn't even make sense what he just done right there. They both transition. McKeever goes for it. Shanahan's onto the back bumper. Shanahan goes for the front wheel. He dials in, shallows up the angle, looks for the transition. He's down on the inside. Once again, almost takes the front end off the GT86 as he puts the front wheel to the door. Shanahan pushing McKeever over the line.
Holy. Everything to cheer for right now. This crowd is going absolutely nuts, and for all the right reasons. This is insane. Both of these drivers in complete top four, nothing between them on that initiation. Nobody's initiating like that, front to back, all the way, almost touching bumpers. And the judges are gonna have to change the zones here for these drivers, because a spot that is meant to be just in and out, both drivers are able to push all the way through. Second, that outside zone, it's crazy what they're able to accomplish. And then Connor Shanahan, how he is able to hold the car back and wait for the perfect moment to transition should be studied, because it doesn't make sense what he's able to do with this car. Punches back to the smoke, and there it is. Oh, Dwayne trying to shake him off throughout the entire run, but he will not be stalled at any point in time. Oh, man, it is just wild what they're able to do throughout this entire run. It really is wild. It's just wild.
And these guys are pushing beyond levels they've pushed before.
Yes, you have to. You have to at this point. Connor needs this to continue on in the championship. His contenders are starting to drop out behind him, but for Dwayne, it's not going to be easy. He will not give up. He's not going to be like, hey, we're friends. I'm going to let you start to run away in the championship. If you're going to want to try to do that, you've got to go through me first.
Exactly that, and Connor will want this. Connor will want another step through, closer to gaining more points. Slide them left for Shanahan, right for McKeever. It's one vote for Shanahan. It's going to be Connor Shanahan getting the win, advancing through to the top 8. Dwayne McKeever out. And mistakes from McKeever.
Just little ones here and there.
Small ones here and there.
But that's
all the judges are saying. They're coming down to splitting hairs. And there we go. It's what it means to the spotters down there. And McKeever's team saying, well done, congratulations. We didn't have what it took this weekend.
Yeah, but that's what it's coming down to. Like, these drivers have upped their level so high that it's the small little mistakes that is going to be the difference between winning or losing.
It certainly is. Well, here we go. Back on the line we go. And it's an all-finish affair down there. But it's the old guard versus the new young blood. But
right.
the new young blood that was able to come through and take a Drift Masters Championship. Laurie Heinonen warms himself up inside the car as he looks across and sees Jylha Pöythalaakso to chase him down. Pöythalaakso qualified in 7th. And Laurie Heinonen in 10th.
Yeah,
the higher
close.
Qualifier opt in to chase first.
Interesting. I agree with this call based on how they're driving. We take a look down at the track there. A couple little drip drops there.
Yeah,
on the track.
a few drops of coolant, I do believe. So our marshals down there on the ground don't miss a thing. They're going to get that cleaned up. I think Laurie Heinonen has a lot of respect for Jylha Pöythalaakso.
Agreed.
You know, he would have seen this man driving many moons ago and said, I wish one day I could do what he does. He did. He turned up, he did what he does, and he won a championship, which Pöythalaakso hasn't been able to win a Drift Masters championship as of yet.
Yeah, but we're seeing a completely new Jylha Pöythalaakso, and the way that he's setting the car up, he's realized that like that craziness that he really became known for a long time might have been holding him back, and really the difference between somebody who is a great driver and a championship driver is knowing how to drive and when. And Jylha Pöythalaakso now taking some of that grip out of the car, slowing things down just a touch in order to get to all those zones, get the angle and get the style. But when you're up against a Lauri Heinonen who's able to drive that car at 10/10ths every single lap, you're going to have to add more speed back into it. So I expect to see a quicker Jylha who's now very comfortable in that chassis.
Well, he knows he can push 110% against Lauri Heinonen as well. He knows that the defending champion has what it takes. He knows he's got a good lead line. He didn't do too well in qualifying yesterday, but he's kind of been refining the setup, refining the car, getting the car ready. And look at this, he's drag racing him down the start line as he goes for the side of the car. Big flick from Heinonen as he puts that car at an incredible angle, and it catches Pöythalaakso out as he hangs onto the throttle, pushes the throttle further through the floor than he has before, but he goes deep in there and it's smoke from the bonnet. There's smoke from the bonnet, and Heinonen shuts it down, and Pöythalaakso is going to carry on the run, and I think we just see an engine failure from Lauri Heinonen.
Oh, wow. We talked about this before. When you are trying to go that fast with that much grip, something has a chance of letting go, and I'm wondering if that is what we just witnessed here from Lauri, who I believe has already taken out one engine this year. This is not good news for him.
Well, here we go. We can watch it from our drone as they fire through. Heinonen through an incredible amount of angle at it. Look at this. Fires on the big angle, catches Pöythalaakso out, stands on the foot brake, and then you can see the smoke come from the bonnet up the windscreen on the transition as he gets into the outside zone. Watch this. He'll transition back. Watch the smoke come from the front of the car. Ready? Boom.
Oh, that is not where you want.
Front wheel, the whole lot, the whole business. And I feel we've got an engine failure there. Look at that door open already.
Yeah, and our track staff taking a look for it. Oh man, that is just absolutely gutted for Lauri.
But he's got a camera in there, so hopefully he'll have good footage of it.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it could be weekend over for our defending champion down there. Becky's with him. Becky, what's happened to the car? What's going on? Is it all over?
Ian, I just asked the question, and I'm going to let Lauri deliver the news because it is not the news that we wanted. Guys, Lauri, what have you just seen?
I think there's an extra hole in the NASCAR now.
Oh, that is absolutely not what we wanted to hear. Did you feel it go as you were going around out of zone 4?
No, it was a little bit kind of an oil smell in the burnout box, but I thought it was just like from Juha's car or something. And yeah, no warning, just boom.
Lauri, we're absolutely horrified for you, but we'll see you at the next round. We hope you get it fixed. We know you've got a great amount of support with the Finnish fans, so we'll see you next round, and we're very sorry about this.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. An extra hole in a cylinder block. It's not all we need to see, and that means terminal engine failure. Unfortunately for Lauri Heinonen, means he's out of competition, and that means that we will have to make it official that Jylha Pöythalaakso will get the win and advance through to the top 8.
Absolutely gutted for him. I mean, these are the things when you're running an engine like this. It's incredible. It sounds amazing, but this is the risk that you take.
Yeah, there we go. We make it official, and Jylha Pöythalaakso will get the win unanimously and move through to our top grade 8. Sorry. And now we have a few brief moments to get that car removed off track. You can see down back on the start line. Jarkko Jühle ready for business in a one more time battle between him and Marco Zacharil. So there we go, we're going to get that car recovered.
Yeah, and hopefully we're not looking at a big spill of any kind. I'm not seeing anything right now, but
no, it's a dry sump engine.
Oh, okay. So it's just it's not going to break the same way that a normal wet sump does.
It's still in gear.
Yeah.
So there we go. Lauri's going to get that car recovered off track. Now,
yes,
championship.
Yeah. So this is.
Let's just have a. I'm not good with numbers. That's why we brought you in.
Okay. I'm gonna do my best here.
They told me you were good with abacus. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to blow the dust off it. But let's try.
Hey, look, let's have a quick think about the championship. Right, Randalu's out. Falvey took Randalu out. Dwayne McKeever's out.
Right.
Laurie Heinonen is out. Connor Shanahan is through. Kvia is still yet to battle in his top 16. If you're a fan of aero, don't look right now.
No.
Just squint your eyes and pretend it's not happening.
Yeah.
If Kvia makes it through to the final 4, I'd say, he could leapfrog a few drivers this weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it's not unattainable. He was on the podium just a couple of weeks ago in Finland.
Yep.
He's on form. He's feeling good. He might be grumpy sometimes.
It's when he drives the best, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is massive championship implications here as we see Laurie Heinenen's car get onto that. That right there. Not that any driver is excited when they see a driver have a failure like that, but for Connor Shanahan, this is huge. This is going to be potentially a pretty big points gap that he's able to pull out here. But it will come down to Tony Kvia, who is at the bottom right now of that side of the bracket. So as we move through this, we'll keep you up to date. And this could get very spicy for the entire championship.
I would like to see a massive flip with the championship before Riga.
We'll see.
Just saying.
We'll see. But, I mean, being in front, being at the lead of those championship points, that is a lot of pressure, and it's not always the spot you want to be in. You have a lot of motivation to fight back.
Exactly. Well, here we go. We're back on the line. A one more time battle between Jarkko Jyhlä and Marko Zacharil. As Marko Zacharil, once again, the high qualifier, opting to chase first. We'll get back to the championship when we start getting into the top 8 and the final 4, because it could make a massive difference by the end of this weekend. Here we go. Off the line, Marko Zacharil's chased down Jarkko Jyhlä. Finland versus the Czech Republic right now as Jarkko Jyhlä fires in a big Jason X100. Look at this from Zacharil, though. Found a little bit more grip in the car, a little bit more pressure, a little bit more power as he unleashes it, dives across, but he's out of formation, now gets himself back into it. Jarkko Jyhlä puts on a beautiful lead line at the moment, on throttle nice and early in the outside zone. Zacharil dials on the angle, looks for the side, and that JZX across the line.
Yeah, Zacharil, I mean, cleaning up the mistake when he had on the second big outside zone, but has a bit of a wobble there in the first big outside zone, and kind of just trading places with those mistakes. But Jarkko Jyhlä out front again, just really laying down this solid lead run. And I think both drivers are trying to figure out the pace of the other driver. They're gripped up heavily, but it's being able to rein that in and keep that car on pace and into the side of the car in front of you. And when you have to try and fight back and figure out what you need to do, the more implementations that you use in the car, the more times you're grabbing the handbrake or left foot brake or clutch or anything, the more likely you are to make a mistake. And we see a few of those, but Jarkko Jyhlä out front, completely solid. He makes that chaser look like it weighs significantly less than it actually does. He's so nimble in it. It's very nimble.
It's very light.
Yeah. But it shouldn't be, considering how big that car is.
It's tiny when you take all the panels off. It's like a BMW compact.
Ah, underneath, huh? That's a secret. All those bendy zones.
Don't tell anyone.
I won't.
No.
Secret's mine. No, I won't tell anybody.
Well, here we go. Put it back up to the line. Zacharil needs a little bit of fresh air through the front end of that BMW 2 Series now with that Volkswagen 4-cylinder power plant, which...
Could it be the future?
I mean, it's working flawlessly for him.
Yeah, it really is. And
it's interesting. While touching wood. Here we go, they're on the line. Green light ready to go, and it's Zacharil to lead out Jarkko Jyhlä as they fire through the gears. Zacharil needs a nice, clean lead line here. Look at that, fires that BMW to angle, puts his foot to floor, now starts to drive away. Jarkko Jyhlä deals with it, matches the angle, now tries to gain some lost ground in that outside zone as Jarkko Jyhlä puts the front end of that JZX100 right up in Marko Zacharil's business. They get into that second to last outside zone towards the wall as Marko Zacharil drags him across the line.
What was exciting and crazy during even top 32 has now become commonplace for all these drivers. The experience that they're getting every single lap, and Marko Zacharil shows that here. Gets that car to angle so quick, and it gets through that inside clip incredibly well, pushes it out to that outside zone, and making no corrections through there. A small decel as he comes to that outside zone, while Jarkko Jyhlä trying to figure out that pace once again. Both drivers are very, very quick, but they're trying to figure out how quick they need to be against their competition, and we see that in the chase as Marko Zacharil getting that car flung out all the way. The way that car moves around and the point that it pivots on is so interesting because of the lack of weight in the front end.
Yeah, it looks almost too snappy, but it looks balanced at the same time.
Yeah.
It looks like it's easy to transition
but catches.
But it catches,
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
most cars that do that, they look like they're sketchy, they're unbalanced.
It's so quick but smooth at the same time. Look at that.
I love the reactions from the spotters tower because they're standing alongside each other while talking to their driver, saying, "You need to do this. He did this." So there we go. They're both out of the car, both smiling, both happy. Czech Republic or Finland, who's going to take it through to the top 8?
Yeah,
the judges' deliberation goes on.
They're going back and they are taking a look at every single zone right now as these two incredible drivers, big smiles because they're excited to be here. So let's take a look. So Marco Zacharil up front. Maybe they were looking at Jylha and how he was in the chase. They're a little bit more on the inside. I really do think it comes to that outside zone, whereas it was the other big outside zone previously where the drivers were a bit making some corrections. I wouldn't even say mistakes, just big corrections to keep the proximity. So and there we go with the international hand signs and drifting. Again, it doesn't matter what language you speak.
It doesn't matter where you go in the world,
yeah,
you see that.
You speak drifting with your hands.
With your hands, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Both these drivers need to be incredibly proud of what they're putting on here today and even throughout this season. And it's a little bit gutting to know that one of them is not going to move on because they both have put on an incredible show here in top 16.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And Marco, the judge is still looking through replay, still looking back at the initiation from either driver, and you can see it's going to mean a lot to both of these drivers. I think Marco Zacharil, he's had a good weekend so far, probably one of the best weekends he's had at Drift Masters for a number of years, and he'll be hoping that weekend carries on. You can see the smile on his face, but Jylha nothing more to make it through to the top 8 here in Mondello Park. And look, the judge is discussing it still, looking at where the position of the cars are, and I think it's that second inside zone. Remember what David Kalas said. It's all about that first corner.
Yeah, and even that line there where they want the drivers to come through, because of the speed that they're getting, it can be very difficult to hold the car back through that section. But judges, incredibly smart, lay out this track in a way that is supposed to hold that momentum all the way through as we get the big smiles and the judge's decision coming up.
Well, there we go. Slide him left for Zacharil, right for Jylha. It's one vote for Zacharil. It's going to be Marco Zacharil getting the win, but it's a split judging decision. Mateusz Jedzi's fault that Jylha got it, and we're going to let that one settle. They're still arguing about it now, the judges. Marco Zacharil gets the win. Czech Republic go through to the top 8, and you can see what it means to him as he revs the car and waves to the crowd. Look, he's so happy, fist bumping the cameraman. As I said, this is probably one of the best results that Zacharil has had now for a number of years here at Drift Masters, and it took that engine change to make the change in the car.
Something different to get things going, and he's going to move on into a battle that's going to be really interesting for him. But before we get to that, Kevin Pesur, Jakub Przygonski, this is going to be exciting. Both of them punching so hard in their previous battles.
Yeah, they certainly are. Look, Kevin Pesur said to me that round 2 was very good in Spain. It had an incredible result. He'd love to replicate that. He took down James Dean. The confidence is through the roof. What can he do here against a man that's line driving is unbelievable? Well, Przygonski comes off the line in that GR86 through the gears as Kevin Pesur, the Estonian, hunts him down. He flicks that car from left to right as they fire over the hill down into initiation. And it's a beautiful lead line, but it's a little wide for Przygonski as he puts the rear wheels now into the outside zone. There's no shaking Pesur though. The Estonian can't be shaken as they fire through the middle of the circuit. Pesur goes for the dive once again, down on the door. He knows how good Przygonski is. He knows he can trust that lead line, and he trusts him the whole way.
Kevin Pesur, every time you put him in a battle against an incredible driver, he just finds another way. He steps up every single time. We're seeing that here against Przygonski, who had so much speed coming through the gate, coming over this hill, and does go that little bit wide, but Kevin Pesur stays with him throughout the entire thing. You can see there that dotted line, the drivers having to straddle that with their front wheels, and then Kuba having to throw a ton of extra angle, getting maybe not quite as deep through that inside clip, and you can see just a little bit offline there, but does not shake Kevin Pesur, who takes that opportunity, drives the correct line behind him, kind of showing him this is where you should be, and then pushes through. But those little mistakes, I mean, these are things that might have been glossed over earlier on, but right now, at this time, in these battles, you cannot be making any mistake if you want to be going on even into the top 8 or to win this event. But Przygonski isn't phased even by that mistake, gets all the way through. Kevin Pesur directly with him all the way, almost close enough he could reach out and open the door.
Yeah, certainly so. And Przygonski there in the car pulls back up to the start line, and he would have been on the radio to the spotters as our start line marshal Master just shows them both the clock there to say, you're in time, it's all good, ready to go. And there we go, the clock down as Pesur pulls into that lead position. Przygonski ready to rock and roll, starts to creep off the line already. We get the green light as Kevin Pesur's bumper pops up. Tyres are light already as they fire through the gears. And look at this from Kevin Pesur. He's absolutely up and gone. This man has turned that car up to 250. Przygonski goes wide. He goes wide again. He's trying to keep up with the Estonian driver. Przygonski on the inside of the circuit. Kevin Pesur's car is like a rocket ship right now as he fires around Mondello Park. Puts that car into the outside zone. Przygonski gets the shortcut, tries to tag the door and gets lost once again.
Holy Kevin! I mean, Kevin Pesur, where did you come from? Where is all this coming
He's put
from?
the afterburners on.
This is crazy. He's picking up speed in places that you should be decelling, and he's just able to get it. Look, it gets that line absolutely perfect, really showing Kuba what needs to happen. And Kuba again, I mean, Kuba just getting gapped here, has to just fight to get back into the battle. But at that point in time, Kevin Pesur is in a completely different country. He's just absolutely ripping through these runs, but Kuba able to try and get that fight back to him at least by the end of the run. Kevin Pesur, what did they put in your cereal this morning? This is wild. Stepping up. Like absolutely stepping up.
The tag on the door for Przygonski is almost to say, I'm still here, but I haven't been here for most of the run.
Yeah, it's just trying to get back into it and put an exclamation point
You know what,
on
for
this.
me, Pesur is firing around at this speed, but the qualifying line, the lead line is absolutely phenomenal.
It's great, yeah. No.
It's like, again?
Yeah, come on, man.
You're ruining my bodywork.
Oh, man. But yeah, Kevin Pesur, though, he gapped two legends.
Yeah.
Two legends of the sport immediately.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, like it was nothing.
Well, here we go. They're out of the car, and you can see Przygonski. I think Przygonski knows the way this is going to go. Maybe, maybe not. Left for Przygonski, right for Pesur. It's one vote for Pesur. It's Kevin Pesur getting the win and advancing through to the top 8. And Pesur is business as usual as he gets himself back into the car. Just the amount of pace he is pulling from every other driver is phenomenal.
It's not even that, though. It's like a careless pace. It's just so fast, but like you couldn't tell. Like
Yeah.
he's just calm the whole time.
Well, here we go. Becky's down there with him. Becky, how is that car so fast, or what did Kevin Pesur have for breakfast?
Kevin, congratulations on the win there. But we've got to talk about this car. This thing is on rails and an absolute rocket ship. Have you changed anything coming to Mondello this weekend?
I changed a little bit my mindset.
Okay, so it's in your mindset that you've made a bit of a change. You know, can you tell us from your point of view what that battle was like for you? Because you absolutely had him off the line. And before that, obviously, we saw you take down James Dean in a very similar way.
Yeah, I knew that Kuba is driving a really good lead. So in the chase position, I knew that I can push from the beginning. So good lead means a good chase, right? And if I'm leading, I'm always putting all in, no matter what. Same was with James. And with James, I was praying myself that I can fit into this corner, and I figured it out somehow.
Well, congratulations, and we'll see you in the top 8.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. The only thing he changed was his mindset.
Yeah, I think he's just not afraid to drive that car at its full potential.
And do you know what? I think that's it. I
Yeah.
think he's just driving beyond what he's driven before.
That's it. He's unlocked another level at this point. If he's like this,
He's got a cheat code somewhere.
it's something. Man, check his car.
Check his car, check his brain, someone plug in,
Yeah.
download the files.
Performance-enhancing confidence is what it is.
Well, we go back on the line. We go for the final battle of our top 16. It's going to be Torani Kvia take on Jakob Krol, and another man that's been coming around this circuit this weekend at an incredible speed. It's been Torani Kvia. What can Kvia do against a very sturdy Jakob Krol as we see the start line flash there? And I think that Jakob Krol just jumped the start line ever so slightly, and we weren't ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to reset these guys, get them ready to go.
Yeah, I see Torna Kvia, just a quick little wheel spin there, make sure there's no marbles attached.
Yeah.
Just lock them into gear.
Well, here we go. It looks like we have got these guys ready to go now. Start line marshal ready. The light goes green. They're through the gears. Kvia opting to chase the higher qualifier down, the lower qualifier down as they fire through. Jakob Krol puts that car where it needs to be. Kvia wheel on the dirt as they transition back. Kvia goes for a huge transition, looks for the back bumper and a carbon Kevlar S14.9. They transition back once again as Kvia is there all over the business. How does he make it work? Jakob Krol's on an absolute heater out front, but you cannot move or lose the Norwegian sledgehammer.
Oh, man. I'm trying to wrap my head around what just happened there. The speed and the transition that both of those drivers just went through. Kvia absolutely on a heater. Jakob Krol, though, giving him all the speed. Just come with me. Let's do this. Let's go for it. This is such a great head-to-head battle. Look at Jakob Krol, all that speed and confidence, compressing that car out. And then Kvia, as he comes through, grabbing that next set of gears. And there he is in that transition. That is such a high-speed place to be able to transition that deep. That means he's got more speed. He's able to dive in and keep more momentum than Jakob Krol, who's completely firing through this track. And then right there, Kvia punches back to that smoke, scrubs a bit of angle back out to get into the side of Jakob Krol, who's just laying down a textbook lead line through this. Oh my gosh, just another finals battle that we get to see here. This is nuts. People wait a lifetime to see battles like this, and we're getting them every single run.
Every battle.
This is wild. Look at the amount of smoke coming off of Jakob Krol. That is incredible what he is doing with that car, and Kvia not shook for a second.
It's the way that Kvia was able to position that car through the transitions, through the smoke. That was the most impressive part.
And at that speed. There are drivers who can transition like that later on the track when things slow down, but Kvia is doing it in the fastest transition on the track. This is before they get an opportunity to even slow down, and he's still picking up pace as he goes to the back of the paddock again.
Yeah, let's the car cool down. He's going to have to pull into the lead position. Did you see what he did? Tighten the belts. That means he's going to go faster.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, man. Okay, everybody get ready for the splash zone here, because Kvia is either going to throw something down that no one has ever done, or we're going to be picking gravel out of these fancy teams.
Exactly that. So we've got two clocks, as you see there, one at the back end of the grid, one at the front end of the grid, and Kvia has to enter that burnout box and pull towards the line within that allotted time, and he manages to do that and get there after letting the car cool down for a few seconds at the back end of the grid. He now pulls into the lead position as Kvia pulls up, ready to battle Jakob Krol, the Polishman, ready to chase down. But can he hang with the pace and the speed with the Norwegian? The light goes green, they slam through the gears. Kvia to lead out Krol as they come over the hill through the gears. A big early flick from Kvia as he puts that car right to where it needs to be. And look at the lead line, look at the smoke, and it throws Krol right off the edge of the circuit. Krol can't hang with the pace of Kvia as he gets himself back into the fight, but Kvia is already starting to pull away once again as he fires onto the wall. Jakob Krol cutting the circuit to keep with the Norwegian as they go wheel to wheel across the line.
This is textbook, dragging that chase driver into deep water. This is a game of chicken as they come through that initiation. Can you hang with what I'm about to throw down? There's only one spot on this entire run that I can have any criticism to Kvia, and I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to gloss over it. Kvia all the way through this. Jakob Krol keeping that pace, hucks it in. Look at this. Kvia just right out. You see a chunk of rubber flying off it as Tor gets all the way out, having that steering almost locked as the weight of the car holds him at angle coming through, and then transitions out. But there, Jakob Krol has no choice but to just bathe in smoke for what feels like an eternity, then gets that transition, does get back into the pace here, but as he gets back into the grip, Kvia already launching back out and putting on that assault to the next transition. So that is absolutely wild in what we saw there. Kvia really taking Jakob Krol all the way to the edge of the track.
It was, you know, when your mum used to say, oh, would your friend jump off a cliff? Would you follow him?
That's what that was.
Kvia just did. Kvia went, you think you're fast? See how fast you are. Look, you follow me. Watch this. And he led Krol into a mistake.
But Tor pulled out of it at the last second.
Unbelievable driving from the Norwegian. Here we go, slide him left for Krol, right for Kvia. It's one vote for Kvia. It's Kvia getting the win, advancing through to the top 8. And he fulfills the last spot, and judges just quickly coming over my headset saying to me, it's 3 wheels off there for Krol on that outside zone, and Kvia led him down the path.
This is the thing at this point. Every driver is just trying to find the absolute limit of physics at this point. So for Kvia, he's riding that line, and if he continues to do it, he's going to be great. But one misstep at any moment, and it is going to go completely sideways and not in the way he was hoping for.
I mean, yeah, exactly that. Sideways, but not in a good way. Well, let's take a look at what our top 8 heat tree looks like now after we lost some of those competitors. Well, this is it. It's going to be Wiecek to take on Paweł Korpulinski. 2 Polish legends go head-to-head. Then it's going to be Zacharil Falvey, Shanahan Connor versus Jylha Pöythalaakso, and Kvia to take on Kevin Pesur.
That last battle in the top 8 here, we have 2 drivers at the complete limit of speed at this point. I don't think you can get any faster going head-to-head that part of top 8 is going to be wild, but every battle through here means just so much to both the championship, but even the individual pride that these drivers have at the level of that these athletes are.
I have no idea who is going to be in the Final Four.
No.
I have no idea who's going to step on top of the podium. All I know is there are only 2 Irishmen left in the competition right now as it stands. Who is going to stand on top of the podium? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to keep moving through competition. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our top 8. Well, as we start to whittle them down further and further, we lose less and less countries and less big-name drivers. But now we have 2 heavy hitters on the line, 2 big names in Polish drifting. Paweł Korpulinski, renowned for that line driving, that style, that flair, that impeccable style that you can follow flawlessly. And then on the other hand, we have the craziness of Piotr Wiecek, a man that can also drive perfectly to line, perfectly with style, but sometimes throws it all out there with a little bit of danger. He's opted to lead first. As Piotr Wiecek, the highest qualifier of round 4 here in Ireland, leads out Paweł Korpulinski, and Korpulinski will know what he needs to do, and he does it already as he jumps onto the back bumper of that A90 Supra. And look at the pace from Piotr Wiecek as he puts that car right it needs to be. It looked like he was going to completely fall off track, but he held on to it. Korpulinski holding on right now as they fire into the wall section. I don't think that Piotr Wiecek has come off the throttle from the moment he left the start line. This is unbelievable.
Both of us gasped. Both of us thought that was the weekend for Piotr Wiecek, who had an incredible amount of speed and looked like he was about to go completely off into the grass and into the stands at some point. But look at that snap to angle.
Wow.
And Paweł Korpulinski able to hang with him throughout this entire thing. Tons of angle, but Paweł fighting through the smoke the entire time, punches through and realizes where Piotr Wiecek is, who's throwing a ton of angle. I don't think he slowed down for that zone. I don't think so. It's supposed to be a decel. You're supposed to slow the car down. He is one handbrake.
That whole run.
It for Piotr Wiecek, who's just all throttle, somehow finds a way to slow a car down while on throttle. Makes no sense to me, but Paweł Korpulinski doesn't let him get away through this section, gets back on the door, and look at Piotr. What I'm wondering, though, is does Piotr Wiecek have any tire left on that car when he gets into the chase? That is going to be the question, because what he threw down was absolutely nuts, and Paweł able to hang with them. It is going to be really interesting here, but if there's going to be someone who can find a way to get every last tread, it is going to be Piotr Wiecek, who has calculated, that team has put down the math and went, you can still do this. This is going to be wild.
This is certainly going to be wild, that's for sure. Wiecek just laid down a run that I don't think I've seen anyone else do here at Mondello Park, and that is touch the handbrake 1 in a full run. That was unbelievable. Well, they're back on the start line, ready to go. Has he got enough tyre on the car, as you alluded to there, Jacob? Well, he now sits in that chase position. Cars getting hot on the line. We're hearing word from our silo Marshall Martin that both the cars are maybe getting a little hot there, needing a little cool down. As Paweł Korpulinski now asked the question by Piotr Wiecek, what have you got in that lead position? So we're going to call Paweł Korpulinski up to the line. He gets himself into position, and Piotr Wiecek gives the thumbs up to our start line Marshall Martin, saying, I'm good to go. The car is cool. We are ready for action. And he's on the radio to the spotter as he looks down. That laser focus, that look in his eye is unbelievable.
It's it's melting wallpaper right now. It's crazy.
He's taking the paint off the back bumper of Korpulinski's car if it was still there, that's for sure. Match the angle, match the speed, and matches the proximity as they come down the hill for initiation. Firing through. Korpulinski goes right to the edge of the circuit, but look at this from Wiecek. He's right there with him. No mistakes so far as Wiecek looks for the rear wheel of that Nissan 206. He goes for an early transition. He's going to pop through the smoke, and he does as they both go to the wall, onto the second wall, wheel to wheel across the line. Wow!
Holy Mondello, are you not entertained? This is crazy. This is just another almost perfect run all the way through it, and both drivers just clinging on for dear life through every single run. Paweł Korpulinski knowing he's got to throw really big. Look at that, lifting the tire again through that compression zone and gets that car all the way out. It's a mirror of what we saw from Piotr Wiecek when he was in the lead, and there he is hunting him down all the way through. Another amazing transition as they dive into this massive outside zone. Tires completely, and the fans, gasping. We gas, everybody gas. You have no idea if they're going to make it through on perfection or bin the entire car and end their weekend. But Piotr Wiecek hunting down Paweł Korpulinski Korpulinski, who's just laying down another surgical run in the lead. This line expert not giving an inch anywhere on this track.
And there's only one downside to that.
What's that?
He opened the door for Piotr Wiecek to absolutely chase him down 110%. Decisions in. It's been easy for the judges. Left for Wiecek, right for Korpulinski. It's one vote for Wiecek. It's Piotr Wiecek gets the win and advances through to the final four. Two Polish heavy hitters.
If you're going to go out, that's how you go out.
That's how you go out.
That's how you go out. Pavel Korpulinski, I mean, an absolute legend. And just, man, what a battle.
Yeah, unbelievable battle. Becky's down there with Piotr. He must feel amazing. The car is working 100%. He qualified first. This could be the dream weekend for Peter here in Ireland.
Big smiles all around for Peter Wiecek. That was an incredible show. I mean, the guys are talking in the tower about only using the handbrake once during that run. Can you confirm this for us?
I don't know what happened, to be honest. I tried my best. I know that it was a lot of effort because I know how good the driver Pavel is, especially this season. I tried my best and it was worth it. It was enough in the end. Eventually, I'm super happy, especially here in this place, in front of such a crowd. Again, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for cheering up and simply have fun. Enjoy the show.
All right, Peter, congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you very soon. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah,
He just blacks out. That's it.
I don't know what happened.
That's crazy. It's crazy. He's a crazy man.
He's a crazy guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He just goes in and drives. That's what it is. Instinct takes over.
Well, I mean, it's certainly taken over this weekend because what he's doing is working. So don't change a thing. Here we go. Back on the line we go. Marco Zacharil to chase down Connor Falvey. Zacharil, once again, that higher qualifier, opting to chase first. It's been working for him so far. Can it work against Connor Falvey? Well, he'll have every Irish fan in the grandstand and around Mondello Park cheering for him. As I say, two Irish drivers left in competition as it stands. Zacharil will sit on the line, the unknown entity in Connor Falvey.
Yeah, this is really interesting. You can only have so many notes, but when it comes down to the battle, it's just throw the notes away and just send it.
Well, there we go. The spotters would have been watching Connor Falvey and they would have been relaying that information to Zacharil and they know what Falvey's got. Look at this. Falvey opens up a nice initiation right to the edge of the circuit and look at that from Zacharil. He trusted it, lent that car onto the S15 as they fire into this outside zone 4. Zacharil on the inside though as Falvey fulfills a beautiful outside line, flicks that car across the circuit. Zacharil takes a back bumper off of Falvey's S15, but Falvey's unfazed, puts the car to the wall, puts it to the second wall, looks for the finish line and across the line he goes.
Every lead run right now is just perfection after perfection, and it's coming down to who has the nerve to get into the chase and try something and get the proximity nobody else is. And I mean, Marco Zacharil is getting so close to Connor Falvey at the fastest part of this entire track. I look at what, how do you see anything? What do you do in that? You're driving by Braille the entire time, kind of feeling it out and trying to see, is there an Irishman in front of me? Can I knock on his door? Can I get in there? And look at this transition, man. It is just inhuman what they're doing. Connor Falvey just giving him every opportunity. An incredible lead run. I mean, if that was in qualifying right now, he might be a top qualifier at any event at this point. Connor Falvey just stepping up every single time, and every lap he puts down, it gets better. But Marco Zacharil says, not today, young man. I'm going to show you what it's like to chase. We get this beautiful shot of that bumper, barely hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, well, there we go. Connor Falvey's runs are getting better and better across the weekend. You know, it struggled a little bit with, qualifying yesterday, and that first qualifying run wasn't really feeling it. You could see that emotion in the paddock, and then the second run kind of, took a breath, took a step back, reevaluated what everyone else was doing, and said, yeah, you know what, I can do it. And from then on, he's been pushing himself harder and harder every single run off the track as the bumpers removed from the back end of that carbon Kevlar Drift Games S15. Falvey now, I feel, and I put it out there, a bit of a bold statement, he needs to up his chase game.
Yeah, I
think he needs to now push a little bit harder than what he's pushed earlier in competition. He's been good, he's been consistent, he's got an incredible lead line. Now we need to see some aggression come through this young 17-year-old driver. We need to see him push on the door because Zacharil will be aggressive. He's going to go for it here. He is the higher qualifier. He knows he's got a good lead line. Falvey needs to trust him and push onto it and get the green light ready to go through the gears. Over the hill they come. Falvey leads to jump on the back bumper, and he's going to go for a strange initiation. He's not as close as Zacharil. Now he needs to start working. As Zacharil puts that car where it needs to be. Oh, wow! Falvey goes for it. Takes a dose of medicine and puts it to the door as they now fire through that outside zone. Falvey going to be looking to come down the inside. He goes for that dive, but look at Zacharil. He's a man possessed right now as he puts the back end to the wall. And again, Falvey has no answer across the line.
Oh, man. I mean, Marco Zacharil just started off the gate really, really hot, and Connor Falvey starts to roll right off the top. Almost not playing games, but just wants to make sure he can get as much as he could. But Marco Zacharil able to get that drag race done, gets so far ahead of Connor Falvey, who then has to take this massive initiation and then cut a little bit to get back into the pocket of Marco Zacharil, who's just able to fill these zones. Look at him, hand hovered over the e-brake, wanting to see, do I need to make any sort of correction? But he doesn't. Connor Falvey in the chase, having to cut some spots and make these dives to get back into the side of the door of Zacharil, who is on a complete heater through this run. And this is, I mean, that almost the mirror of Marco Zacharil is kind of hinting, let's get in here, tapping the door. I mean, if these drivers could tap the door, if they were allowed to reach out and do it, you know they'd be doing it the entire time, because these might be the best drivers in the world, but at the end of the day, they still drive and party like they just started drifting. It's that mentality of like, I'm here to bang doors with my friends. Everybody here is doing that. They're just doing it with 1,000 horsepower on crazy tires in front of thousands of people.
Sounds awesome.
It's amazing.
I couldn't think of a better thing to do.
Ah, man.
Well, here we go. Guys out of the car down there, ready to receive the decision. And Falvey and Zacharil ready to find out who's going to take it through to the final four. Zacharil will want this to be the dream weekend. Can he make it happen? Here we go. Decisions inside him. Left for Zacharil, right for Connor Falvey. It's one vote for Marco Zacharil. It's Marco Zacharil getting the win and advancing through to the final four. We say goodbye to Connor Falvey. But I tell you what now, as that guy progresses through competition over the course of this year, he is gaining momentum, the line driving. He just needs that more aggression.
Yeah, and it will happen. It will come with time. He will get angry one day, and we will see that next part of Connor Falvey. But Marco Zacharil now having to face Piotr Vincent. This is crazy how this is stacking up for our podium already. We are in for some wildness.
Well, first and fourth place qualifier in the final four at the moment. We now go to the other side of our top 8 bracket, and we see the next battle on the line, which is going to be another spectacular one. Look at what it means for Marco Zacharil, a man that has struggled, we say it, for many years here at Drift Masters.
Not anymore.
Now starting to get redemption. Here we go, we're back on the line. Connor Shanahan to lead out Jylha Pöythalaakso, the higher qualifying, deciding to lead first, and some nerves sitting in now for Shanahan as he sits in that 2JZ Toyota GT86. The man leading the championship at the moment gets a signal from our startline marshal, are you ready to go? And we get thumbs up and a fist bump from Jylha Pöythalaakso. The Finnish driver puts the anti-lag on and starts to creep across the line as the light goes green. Shanahan to lead out Pöythalaakso for a spot in the top 4 away. Who's it going to be? And an early initiation from Shanahan as he locks up the front brake, puts that car right where it needs to be. Pöythalaakso goes wide, drops wheels off the edge of the track. As Shanahan finds his way into this long outside zone, starts to smoke out the Finnish driver. As Shanahan transitions, Pöythalaakso needs to get himself into the fight. He goes for a big dive, but his wheels off the edge of the circuit once again, as Shanahan drags him across the line.
Yeah, Connor laying down just what we expect all weekend. What we see is the Shanahan fans going absolutely nuts right now, and for a good reason. It's Connor right out of the gate, over this hill, over the line. Look at this, Connor lifting that wheel, just tiptoeing as he comes through that outside zone, but Jylha going deep through that zone, but does an amazing job to adapt and get back into the fight without making it look desperate. Cuts a bit of that line, knowing just how fast Connor Shanahan is and how comfortable he is through this entire run. Look at this, sets that car up, gets it out to the wall, and then just pins it as he comes through that outside zone. While Jylha Pöythalaakso having to pick up the scraps and pieces of what's left of that chase run. But I do like that spot right there. He goes a little bit deeper, but kind of a classic chase there, just offsetting
on the rear wheel,
on the rear wheel. And Jylha making sure that if the last thing that judges see when he's chasing is at least his wheel on the side of Connor Shanahan.
There we go.
Real artsy with these camera shots now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, our slow-mo cameraman Addy down there getting in the grass. He's everywhere.
He's absolutely everywhere.
You can't control him. There's no control in him.
I don't want to. I want to let him just go.
let
him run wild.
Be artistic.
Oh, man. These drivers are absolutely crushing. Jylha Pöythalaakso taking that time to cool off the car.
Yeah.
And Marson letting him know how many seconds are left before he's got to pull the line against Connor Shanahan, who, I mean, what do you do here, Shanahan? Do you chase the way that you always chase, or do you hold back a little?
I think Shanahan's going to do what he always does, and that's go 110%, push onto the door, and force the decision to the judges.
Yeah, don't
leave any question marks out there. That's what Shanahan's going to do, and that's what Shanahan's always done. The Shanahan brothers are synonymous for it.
Yeah.
Don't leave anything on the table. Go out there, drive 100%, and make the judges put you into the next step of competition. Here we go. Light goes green. Through the gears they come. Shanahan already smoking wheels on the back of that GT86 as Pöythalaakso puts that car to the edge of the circuit, picks up that first outside zone now. Clean line as he comes through. Go right to the edge of the circuit from Pöythalaakso. As Shanahan now balances his way through, dives onto the rear wheel of that BMW E92 as they fire through, bumper to bumper on the transition, pop the smoke, comes through Shanahan as he now looks for the door. That E92 BMW squeezes up on the inside across the line.
I gotta say, Jylha just so smooth through all of these runs. I mean, it's like the car just floats everywhere he wants it to go, and he's really not fighting it at any point in time, and it makes for this just beautiful run all the way through, gets the car out. But Connor, I mean, plays this very smart. He knows he can chase with anybody, and he does. He pulls back just a touch, not enough to make this look by any means boring, but enough to know that, like, I'm going to get into the pocket. I'm going to make sure that the judges know that I've got this incredible chase, but I'm not going to do anything risky that's going to potentially take him out. And that is the difference as Connor Shanahan has grown older in front of us, is that there were times where maybe he would just be dooring him the entire thing and create some sort of mistake, but that wasn't it. He ends it like that, as we see. Another Shanahan there, incredibly pumped for the young driver.
Yeah, carries a huge amount of fans around with him, to the Shanahan family, and super supportive and always cheering for him. And there we go, both guys out of the car, good handshake, and not many words exchanged. I think Connor Shanahan's in full business mode this weekend. He tasted the champagne in Finland, and he will want nothing but to get back on the top step once again here and really cement that championship. Side of left for Shanahan, right for Pöythalaakso. It's one vote for Shanahan. It's going to be Connor Shanahan taking the win, advancing through to the final four, and we lose the Finnish driver. And he's on form and feeling good right now this weekend, and the fans are loving it, and we're loving it, and everyone at home is loving it. Connor Shanahan is back on some momentum. Wins in Finland. Can he win in front of his home ground here in Ireland? Becky's with him right now.
Connor, congratulations on winning your battle there. It's always about this point of the weekend when you start to creep your way forwards to that top step. What are your thoughts right now? Do you think you've got what it takes?
Yeah, I honestly feel like there's lots left in the tank. Oh, what a feeling. What a feeling to drive a car that good. I honestly cannot thank my team enough. Like, the level, what they're working at, giving me the car, but not even that, just the atmosphere, the vibe. My family are here. I've wanted to win this round so bad, and we're 2 battles away, closer than I've ever got here in Mondello Park, and I'll give it everything to bring it home for the Irish crowd. But most importantly, we extend our championship lead. I'm just happy. My spotter's doing an incredible job. The vibe is good. I just want to push and go all the way.
Now you took the next question right out of my mouth. I was about to ask you, like, what's the plan for the next 2 battles? It's only 2 battles.
Yeah, I think the plan right now changes a little bit, and it's full tin now. I think the start of today was a little bit more just calculated, thinking about the championship situation. We know Randalu got, put out a little bit early. Some other top guys got put out, so we knew we had a really good chance of extending the lead here, but 4th place or 1st place is no opinion right now. It's records or checkers. I want the #1 spot.
Well, congratulations, Connor, and good luck, guys. Records or checkers, that's the plan.
That's the plan, Becky. He's going for it. He's going for the top step. He wants as many points as he can bag this weekend. Look, Shanahan, 2nd place qualifier, so he already bagged a lot of points there, and the winner of our qualifying showdown as well bagged more points there. If he can win the event, bags almost every single point available this weekend.
There is one man left here right now that is going to push to try and take him down.
Well, there's 2 men.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's still more than that. We got battle, but I mean, this right now for Tony Kvia, this is everything for his championship bid.
Yeah, well, look, Kvia sitting down 4th in the championship right now. He will want to beat Kevin Pesur, who isn't really in the championship fight at the moment. But Kvia will want to cement a bit of a better place. Yeah. He knows that Dean's out. He knows that Randalu's out. He knows that Heinenen's out of competition. Now is a chance for Tony Kvia to jump up the order a little bit and maybe sit 2nd behind Shanahan as we go into Riga in just a few weeks' time. And here we go, though. through the gears. Off they go. It's going to be Kevin Pesur to lead out Torane Kvia. Kvia matches the angle. And look at the proximity for Kvia. He leans on. Oh, and it's a mistake. Leans on the back of Kevin Pesur, and it puts him into a mistake as they fire into the outside zone. Kvia now trying to hunt down Kevin Pesur as they fire into the second to last outside zone. Kvia goes for it, but it's all over the show as he almost hits the wall and loses some ground.
Yeah, very strange there from Torane Kvia. I mean, listen, I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, but he keeps having to cool that car down. He keeps having to go back there. He is running that thing so difficult, like so hard through every run. But Kevin Pesur just throws this car so hard coming over the hill, and he's able to hang on to it. But look at Tor, just understeers, but kind of uses Kevin Pesur to be able to keep in the battle. And then Kevin transitions back out and says, all right, try it again. Moving to that outside zone, and then Tor on a very wrong line as they now go into this outside zone, pushing really hard. Kevin Pesur adding even a bit more angle. And they come through this transition. It actually gives Tor a bit of an opportunity to suck back in as Kevin Pesur slows down just a touch. And then Torane Kvia, even through this section, looks like he's clutch kicking, fighting the car just to keep it on pace. But Kevin Pesur, absolutely perfect out front.
Yeah, he is certainly perfect out front. An incredible lead line once again from Kevin Pesur, a man that didn't really qualify too well yesterday. 19th place for Kevin Pesur. He's now laying down these lead lines that are worthy of first or second place. And you can see the panic there from Torane Kvia as he's trying to throw that car at Kevin Pesur and put himself back into the fight. Any interesting to know how the judges see that initiation, because I know they're looking over it and over it.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
it's interesting, yeah. We'll
different camera angles.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kevin Pesur, I mean, still, we talk about him kind of coming up through this, but finishing 6th last year, he is no slouch at any point in time, but a slower start to the season. And we've seen this before where drivers maybe don't have a great first or second round and then start to battle their way up. And then when it comes down to Poland, it's all in at that point. Is Tor once again taking a parking spot at the back of the burnout box. 2 crew members right now keeping that car cool. It looks like, oh, you got a clock, and then somebody, it looks like at least spraying down the rad to chill things out.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at what the judges are looking at. The judges, yeah, still going back over that first run.
It's the initiation, huh? Interesting.
Well, you know, they would keep reminding us. It's all about the initiation, all about the first corner.
That's a good point. That is a very,
Did
very
we
good point.
miss something? Did I miss something?
Did I miss something? I mean, we will go with we.
We're a team.
Maybe even some fans.
We're a team.
Yeah.
Me, you, Becky, we're a team.
That's it.
I don't know.
I don't know, but what we're going to find out is a lot more.
We'll find out when the decision comes in, and we'll probably go to David Kalas, because we'll probably need to find out. And he's already smiling. He's already going, yeah, you're going to need to know what happened here, that's for sure. So he knows what we don't know, that's for sure. That's why he's the judge. Here we go. They're back on the line. It's going to be Kvia to lead out Kevin Pesur. Can Kevin Pesur hang with Kvia? That's the big question. Kvia's been throwing down these huge initiations as he fires through the gear, flicks that car across the circuit. And wow, look at the angle, look at the pace. He's gone super wide. His wheels off track. He blows the cones into the middle of the circuit. Kevin Pesur dives in, hangs with him, as now Kevin Pesur tries to get himself back into the fight as Torane Kvia fires through the circuit. He's angry. The Norwegian sledgehammer wants to get the win, but he's throwing everything at it.
This is what we talked about before. This is going across that line, trying to find the limit and just dipping a toe over it. And that's what happened to Torane Kvia, who's trying to go as fast as he possibly can throughout this run to try and break away from Kevin Pesur. So let's take a look at this replay here as Tor absolutely shredding, gets that initiation. Kevin Pesur has to hold back because he can't, but look at how far out Torane Kvia goes.
Yeah.
The question then becomes how many wheels?
Well, watch it from this angle as he goes over that white line. I'm going to say it's 3 wheels.
But, I mean, listen, either way, epic. I get, like, you can't, whatever. Okay, let's move on past that. Yeah, that's a lot of wheels. And it's far more than 2. But Torane Kvia, oh, wow.
Look at the camera angle from there. The car actually jumped back onto circuit.
Maybe he's got a career. I think he's
Look at the front wheel. Absolutely destroyed.
How is that holding air? And Tor just doesn't care.
That's what we see coming off when he was chasing Kevin Pesur.
It was a piece of
When
wheel.
he was leaning on the car, you could see white pieces flying in the air. It was the front wheel of Kvia's car breaking up.
Holy cow. I mean, might have to go back and scrub back and check that one out. That was wild.
Exactly. That was crazy. There we go. They're both out of the car. Kvia gives away, but I think Kvia knows what way this is going to go. He shakes his head. He knows the decision already, Kvia. He pushed too hard. We need to make it official, though. Slide him left for Pesur, right for Torane Kvia. It's 1 vote for Kevin Pesur. It's Kevin Pesur going through to the final four as we say goodbye to Kvia, and he knows himself what he did. He made that mistake. Push him, but you have to push. At this level, you have to be 110%.
It's coming down to who is able to hold that line all the way through and who is stepping over it, because all these drivers are really trying to just go as hard as they possibly can, find the limits of everything and see if the other drivers be able to hang with them. And in this case, not able to. Kvia, this is where his day ends, but for Kevin Pesur, he moves on.
Yeah, he certainly does move on, and I'm going to put it out there and say Kevin Pesur has been unbelievable this weekend. Can he carry the momentum on? Let's take a look at the heat tree, though. How does it sit? Who's sitting in the final four? Well, here we go. This is it. It's going to be Wiecek to take on Marco Zacharil.
Wild.
It's going to be Conor Shanahan to take on Kevin Pesur.
This is nuts. This is nuts.
They are two final battles.
Again, yeah.
And Conor Shanahan is the only driver in the top 9 of the championship still in it.
So this for him is massive. I mean,
is huge.
The further he goes, the more he's able to extend that points lead.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no other driver within that top 9, apart from Conor Shanahan, that's in the competition. So he's now starting to bag so many points over everyone else, over Kvia, over Heinonen, over Randalu and James Dean.
But Kevin Pesur, Marco Zacharil, Piotr Wiecek, they are now able to start moving up the ranking order. They're able to start
100%.
pushing harder and further up to the top.
Don't forget, Kevin Pesur on the podium at round 2 in Spain. He's still got a bag load of points, but he dropped down the order in Finland. Look, things are going to get interesting, and we're going to see how that championship lands at the end of the weekend. We're going to move it on, though, ladies and gentlemen, to our final four. Well, 41 drivers headed to Mondello Park this weekend here in Ireland, and only 4 of them remain, and only 3 of them will be standing on the podium. There's 3 shots at the podium, but who's going to make it through to the final? Who will be the first player in the final battle? We've got Piotr Wiecek, our 99.5 first place qualifier, sitting on the line, ready to lead our Marco Zacharil, the man that came second in our qualifying showdown yesterday. He's been on form. He's been absolutely firing through the circuit. He's been doing things that he's never been done before. He's been proving himself here at Drift Masters, but Piotr Wiecek doesn't need to prove himself. He is a former champion. They come through the gears, down over the hill as they fire in, and Zacharil leans that car to angle as he tries to follow Piotr Wiecek, but Wiecek is absolutely up and gone. The grip, the pace in that Toyota Supra is phenomenal, and Zacharil now tries to get himself back in the battle. Zacharil tries to hang with Wiecek as Wiecek puts it right to the edge of the circuit, to the wall, across the line.
Who is going to stop Piotr Wiecek? Because he is able to get so much out of this car in a vehicle that is notoriously tough to drive, in a vehicle that he struggled with for a long time, but he has unlocked every single part of this Supra. Look, it's so stable. That car, it might be bouncing a little bit, but it absorbs, it takes all the hits, it just goes and rolls through that entire section and somehow picks up speed, and that leaves Marco Zacharil to have to cut the line to be able to get back into the chase. Full lock there for Piotr Wiecek, who's on throttle, picking up speed all the way through. Look at how calm he is. It is wild what he is accomplishing and what we're able to see here today. But Marco Zacharil not phased throughout this run, knows how fast Piotr is, still stays in the battle, still stays in the chase, gets on his door, at least by the end of the run, going, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna make you do the exact same thing. You're gonna have to battle me super hard on when we swap things around. Marco Zacharil at no point in time gave up in this battle, even though Piotr Wiecek showing no signs of slowing down.
No, he is no signs of slowing down. I think the distance he pulled from initiation to that long outside zone 4 was just unbelievable.
It's incredible what he's been able to accomplish with this car. And as I said before, in a vehicle that it looked like he was trying to handle, even in practice, the first practice, he had an off. He went into the grass, and that team came back, got everything sorted, and now it is a complete rocket ship.
It certainly is a rocket ship. I don't know if anyone else on the grid right now has the pace to hang with him.
We're going to find out here. Marco Zacharil knows what he's up against, and is he going to pull something out of the bag on this last run? It's do or die, Mr. Zacharil, as he takes the lead.
Here we go, yeah, the airbag firing as he comes off the line. Zacharil to lead out Wiecek as Wiecek stares down, slams that car through the gears, he flicks it to angle. Zacharil puts that car where it needs to be. Nice line so far, but Wiecek goes wide, puts cones up, spins the car as he hits Zacharil.
Wow, what just happened? Piotr Wiecek right now in a crazy spot. What is coming off the bottom of his car?
I'll tell you what, I think we've got two separate incidents here.
Interesting.
If we go back to a replay of initiation, I think we have two separate incidences.
Interesting.
I think Wiecek put the car off track, and I think Zacharil broke down.
At the same time.
At the exact same time. Watch this. They come off the line, slam through the gears. There's no messing around. Both guys want this. They're hungry for it. Zacharil goes for a big flick on initiation. So does Wiecek. He mirrors almost the angle. Nice line so far. No mistakes from both guys. As they get here, Wiecek goes off track. Watch Zacharil shuts the car down before Wiecek comes back on track. Two separate incidences. Almost, or is, I'm being told, a 0-0.
Right. Okay, so what does this leave us then for the judges to be able to go over? Walk me through this, Ian. In this situation,
you're asking the wrong guy.
Well,
there's buttons on here that say talk to the guys in the know.
We're gonna need the judges on this one for sure to explain how this all works out, because
look at
you're right.
As Wiecek comes on track, Zacharil's already shut it down. I'm going to say, is that a 0-0? I'm looking across to David Kalas. He's nodding. It's a 0-0 confirmed by the judges. So now that leaves us in a situation where I'm gonna listen to the guys in my ears. You carry on there, Jacob.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is wild that this happened. I mean, it is the serendipitous that both drivers having those mistakes. Piotr having to just stall and check for 1 quick second, and that's what ends up pushing him off track.
Right, so I'm hearing word in my ears that Marco Zacharil thinks the engine has failed in the car.
No.
They're going to go back to the paddock after this and check it over and see if it has failed, and we'll get word of that as soon as we hear. And you can see Wiecek looking over, and the face of Wiecek there, he's like
grimace.
That was because Zacharil just tried to start it.
Oh yeah,
he just tried to start the car. Here we go. We need a decision. Left for Zacharil, right for Wiecek. Who's going to the final? It's going to be Piotr Wiecek. Gets the win, advances through to the final. Now that leaves us in a situation. Can Marco Zacharil repair the car for the 3rd and 4th place playoff? We'll have to find out. Judges, David Kalas, I need to come to you. You judged that on 1 run.
Normally, we need to judge lead to lead, chase to chase. The only possibility where we can judge lead to chase is in case of double mistake or double incomplete, which we saw when Piotr went 3 wheels off, and exactly after that, Marco stopped drifting. So first 0 was for Piotr, second 0 was for Marco. Then we are coming for the first run, and in the first run, Piotr did 2 small mistakes. He was on the curb, and the rotation to outer zone 6 was not perfect, but they are very small mistakes, so his lead was pretty high score. Then when we look on Marco, he was cutting a lot in a lot of places on the track, and the proximity was not that great. So that did not give him too much points, so that means Piotr is going through.
Thank you very much, David. Yeah, so there you go.
Makes sense.
And I mean, look, imagine if Peter would have decided to have chased first.
Yeah, and this is where that implication comes in, where, yeah, what would have happened then?
What would have happened then?
What would have happened? What? Yeah, that rule change has so many implications, and it has so much strategy, and just adds such another element to make this event and this season even more exciting. Oh, I really hope it's not an engine, because I would love to see Marco Zacharil come back and battle for 3rd. I think we all do. We want to see that battle. So hopefully it isn't what it might be, and it's maybe just like a coupler, quick something. You're looking at me like that's not the case, but I'm hoping.
I see Peter Wiecek's face when Marco Zacharil tried to start the car on the grid, and Peter's face was the international sign for, ow,
not good.
Not good. Well, there we go. We get Marco Zacharil moved off circuit. Wiecek makes his way back to the paddock to get that car ready to rock and roll for the final battle. Still happy.
Yeah.
Best result so far in Drift Masters for a long time.
Yeah, I'd be happy too. That's a crazy battle to go heads up, and nobody wants to go out with a broken anything, but
no.
See what happens next.
Well, here we go. We go back down to the back end of the paddock of the grid, where we see Shanahan warming up the tyres on that Red Bull Toyota GT86 as he gets ready to take on a very in-form and a very fast Estonian driver in Kevin Pesur. What way is this one going to go? Only one Irishman left in competition. Can Shanahan take it to the top step on the podium? Can he do it this weekend? Well, we already know who if he makes it through to the final, he's going to have to face off against a man that he's battled multiple times before. Wiecek looking on form, Shanahan looking on form, But Kevin Pesur looking so good this weekend.
Yeah, the entire weight of this island is on the shoulders of the very young Connor Shanahan right now.
He certainly is. Yeah, the 22-year-old holds all of the pressure on his shoulders for the Irish fans as they sit in the grandstand with fingers crossed, hoping that Connor Shanahan can take it through to the final. He sits in the car, he gives a little thumbs up to the cameraman. Kevin Pesur has a quick word with our start line Marshall Marston as he does his final pre-flight checks. Kevin Pesur looking absolutely focused and in the zone. He knows the talent that is Connor Shanahan, the 2023 champion. Sits on the line, leading the points right now, hoping to bag a load more and move himself further ahead than anyone else. He creeps off the line. It's Shanahan to lead out. Kevin Pesur for a spot in the final awaits as Shanahan flicks that GT86 from left to right. Oh! Pesur goes on the inside, puts a wheel up on the curb. Shanahan unfazed as Pesur now pushes the back end of that GT86, goes for a dive, tags the door once again because Pesur is coming angry at this one, dives through the smoke as Shanahan puts a back bumper towards the wall. Kevin Pesur can't be shaken as he puts the wheel to the door one more time.
Yeah, Kevin Pesur, I mean, got loaded with some lemons there, made some lemonade, able to get back into the battle after what was kind of just a wonky initiation, coming really tight on that inside zone. Connor Shanahan once again just incredible as he comes through there. Look at how tight to the inside Kevin Pesur is, but he's able to make that correction in mid-run and able to get back into the battle and then just hold it to the door of Connor Shanahan, who out front holding that lead line. Look at that back right tire just flirting with the edge of the track the entire way through, not going over and just holding it, keeping that speed, all the wheel spin through the transitions. Kevin Pesur, another big dive as Connor Shanahan now trying to push as fast as he can to the end of this run to try and shake off at Kevin Pesur, who on form through this run, one mistake, but comes back from it and makes the best of the situation.
He certainly does. Unbelievable scenes there. Kevin Pesur making those dives. It's so good to see him back in the slow-mo and different camera angles. You can see where Kevin Pesur is pushing in certain areas, and he was so far on the inside on that initiation though as he come through that first turn, and you can see he corrected, got himself back into it, and then every single time he made a transition, he made a dive onto the door of Connor Shanahan. There was no shaking the Estonian.
You have to though, like, because you know Connor, once he gets into the chase, I mean, there's a reason why I call him the Shadow, because he's right next to you the entire time. You cannot get rid of him at any point. And that's what Connor does. And to beat a Connor Shanahan, you have to outdo what he does so well, which is chase in an incredible degree. The transitions, the dives, everything is so calculated and well-timed, and he makes it look effortless. And that's what Kevin Pesur had to do through that run, as now they line up. And here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Kevin Pesur sits in that lead position. Shanahan to chase him down, despite the final awaits against Wiecek as they pop off the start line through the gears. The green light pops into vision as they now hammer through the gears, and Kevin Pesur fires that car in big angle, big pace, big speed. As Shanahan tries to regain some lost ground, he shortcuts that outside zone as Kevin Pesur gets into outside zone 4, opens up the throttle, tries to drive away from the Irishman, but Shanahan is right with him as they transition bumper to bumper into this second to last outside zone. Shanahan onto the rear wheel, onto the door, across the line.
Yeah, exactly what we saw in the previous run. I mean, both drivers having a bit of a time at the first part of the track, that initiation point that the judges are holding with so much weight right now. So Kevin Pesur, really good job through here, taking that line quite well, and Connor cutting that line very similar to what Kevin had done in the chase. So what does that mean? How does this all play out now? Because both drivers not perfect through the first part of the zone, and they both need to clean things up. But through the rest of this run, Connor Shanahan doing exactly what the Shadow does, staying on the side of Kevin Pesur, who's having an incredible lead run once again. I could sit and watch this for the next week.
I was just thinking that. I could just watch this run. These two guys battle over and over and over.
That could just be a show all to itself. It's just Connor Shanahan versus Kevin Pesur. We give them different cars on different tracks, and they just battle, because this is wild. Taking risks, making dives, every part that they could.
Both leads were impeccable.
Yeah.
That's what I take away from that. Both lead runs from both drivers were unbelievable. Look at this. They're out of the car, and Connor Shanahan, the international, you pulled away from me on initiation.
Which is crazy, because Connor's been so quick through here, but Kevin, with that mentality change, as he said, and really, those chases are so similar. And it's that inside clip, as we see here, what the judges are looking at. So how far in did Kevin Pesur go? I mean, he is superseding that line.
Look at where Connor's position is. We talked about that white line being straddled.
Yeah. He's a little bit wider. Could that be the difference maker here? Judges still looking at replays. We're looking at the drivers, but you and I get to see what the judges look at. And they're checking out more replays once again. This is so incredibly tight from these drivers.
It certainly is. So they're down there on the grid, ready to get the decision. Can we see a Polishman in an Irishman in the final against a Polishman? Or will Conor Shanahan unfortunately bow out of competition against Kevin Pesur? Who knows at this point?
I have zero idea.
No idea.
Yeah, judges
I'm speculating.
Still looking at replays, having to go through and just do the nitty-gritty of every single run, every tool at their disposal right now.
Well, it looks like their decision is dropping in. Our system in front of us is having some inputs put into it. Who's going to take it through to the final to face off against Piotr Wiecek here at round 4 in Mondello Park? Looks like the decision's in. Slide them left for Pesur, right for Conor Shanahan. Is one vote for Conor Shanahan? It's Conor Shanahan going to the final. Kevin Pesur will face off against Marco Zacharil if that car is fixed. Shanahan in the final again. Round after round, Shanahan right now is an unstoppable force at Drift Masters.
It is wild how he has taken the energy from all the fans here in Ireland and just harnessed it into these incredible runs that defy all logic. I have learned more about what's possible in a drift car here today than I have in my entire life, because I never thought that you could do this type of thing in these vehicles.
These guys are pushing 110%. They're pushing beyond the limit. We've said it earlier on. They're pushing beyond the limit they've pushed before.
Yeah. It's faster.
And it's clear to see as well.
Every stat that we have is just getting updated and trumped every single time.
Yeah. We said it before. Can you go faster over the hill? Can you go drive with more grip? Can you drive with more pace? Last year, everyone said it can't be done. This is as fast as we can go. This year, they're going faster again. This championship is nothing short than fascinating, if anything.
Yeah, it's showing where the sport is at today, the pedigree of these drivers, the advancements that we have in technology and everything, and this is what it looks like.
Well, here we go. This is going to be it. The third and fourth place playoff will be against Marco Zacharil and Kevin Pesur, and the final will be against the Polishman, Piotr Wiecek, to take on Conor Shanahan, our 2023 champion. That is going to be a movie.
Yeah, this is shaping up. I mean, drivers that have gone at it so many times. I've completely lost even the stats at this point. It just feels like this is just a replay of the best movie you've ever seen. Conor Shanahan, Piotr Wiecek going head to head. Just so much on the line here. More than just championship, more than just national pride, but two drivers at the absolute top of the sport clashing at this arena. It's wild.
Well, we're going to decide the third and fourth place playoff. Do we have two contenders? We're about to find out. Let's head to our playoffs. Well, we heard Marco Zacharil broke the engine in the final battle we had. Becky's down there with him. Is it bad news, Becky?
Ian, unfortunately, it is bad news. I mean, Marco, you've had an incredible day of driving. One more time with Jarkko Jylha, one more time with Clint Vanor, a battle with Conor Falvey, and you got all the way to the top 4, and suddenly that was all she wrote for the car. Can you tell us what happened?
Unfortunately, engine's done because we go with Piotr and we now using just the spare engine, so we need to use all of the boosts in the world, and this is it. Engine's done. Crazy is that it happened just after Piotr goes out, so I should just finish the round and I will be in the podium, and this is it. It's the racing, it's the game, but I'm very happy. We really enjoyed that race. Irish was very nice, have some crowd, so I'm very looking forward for next round.
Talk us through the decision to make this engine change. Are you enjoying making the switch?
Yes, I'm very enjoying the car now's work like never. I'm looking forward. I think this season will be very, very, very good for us because we have a lot of engine in spare, so we are getting ready for next round.
And this isn't as far as you've come before. This is actually your third, fourth place during your Drift Masters campaign. What do you think it's going to take to push it further and onto that podium?
I think it will come the time. We need to be focused for next races. So we need to prepare more. And I think it will come sometimes when we will be on the podium. We will work on it very hard.
Okay, Marco, thank you very much, and congratulations on your 4th place. Guys, there you have it. A happy, smiley man, but an engine that is kaput.
Yeah, unfortunately, the end of the weekend for the engine and the end of the weekend for Marco Zacharil. And as Becky alluded to, this man has the 4th place curse.
Happens, but one day it will happen.
And you know what I took away from that? Marco Zacharil so happy that, you know, this decision that they made to go from the BMW V8 turbo engine that they were running before to swap over to the Volkswagen 4-cylinder. You know, it was a controversial engine swap for a lot of people. A lot of people doubted it. You know, is a 4-cylinder enough at this level of Drift Masters? And I think that question has been answered now. I think it is. But the reliability will come with the progression of this engine and how they develop it over the time. And he said, look, I've got plenty of spares. He's collecting those engines in the Czech Republic to make sure that his spare package is capable to do a whole season of Drift Masters. Marco Zacharil, I think he's going to come back with a really good mindset to Riga and Germany. Germany was the last time, me personally, I see him in that Final 4. And again, engine failure let him down there as well. It's going to come to Marco Zacharil. Yeah. He has the talent. He has the car.
Yeah, and developing something new just brings more longevity to the sport. I don't know exactly which Volkswagen engine it is. It's just a 2-liter. Maybe they got it poured out. There's a bunch of special sauce going into it, but the fact that he's found something that he can source and find everywhere and develop, it just makes the sport that much better. But that will mean that Kevin Pesur is going to be taking that 3rd spot. And I know, I mean, may not be the top spot, but for him, this is absolutely massive to be back up on that podium as we're seeing him rounding the trees with the beautiful Irish backdrop. I mean, what a day for him. Just coming in and disrupting the entire field, putting it down, showing everybody he's ready to be a champion. Everything is there. It's just going to be keeping this pace through an entire season.
It certainly is. And I think for me, Kevin Pesur's shown signs of this in the past. You know, we see it in 2024 in Spain, where he came along and just absolutely blew everyone's minds at round 1, taking that podium. But then he kind of fell off. You know, and I spoke to him throughout the season, and he had an incredible mindset at that point, and he had a really good car. But he said to me, I just can't progress through for the rest of the year. Everyone else kind of gets stronger, and unfortunately I fall behind. This year, when you talk to Kevin Pesur behind the scenes in the pits, and when I talk to him in conversations around the paddock, his mindset is so focused on, I'm going to win this weekend, I'm going to qualify first, there's no one's going to stop me. He is so focused on the task in hand.
Yeah, and really almost no one stopped him. It's been an incredibly monumental run here for Kevin Pesur, who now we get to have a bit of a treat here as he gets that victory lap, at least for 3rd. I mean, maybe not the total thing, but a massive, massive accomplishment for a driver that keep that consistency throughout the rest of this season, and he's got such a big shot. Look, it holds to the rules no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it just gets to show how much these guys don't play games. He pulled through the start line, he got the strobe light and said, well, maybe I won't. And Kevin Pesur, ladies and gentlemen, going to do a buy run there, just going to put on a show for all the amazing fans here at Mondello Park in Ireland. Grandstands sold out, 10 deep around the fence. These guys have been an incredible atmosphere all weekend. Always happy to see drifting in Mondello Park, and hence why we come back here year after year, because the fans are amazing and they put on such a good show alongside the drivers.
Yeah, it's been incredible, the knowledge that these fans have and the passion that they've got for this sport. This is everything to them, and I feel very, very blessed to just meet so many of them throughout this weekend. And it's been life-altering, to be honest, to be here, to get to call these runs and see all these drivers and meet all these fans. And it's just nuts. But yeah, Kevin Pesur taking 3rd, and that will set things up for what is meant to be and what will be an epic finale in this event.
Well, there we go. We need to make it official. It's going to slide left for Kevin Pesur as he takes it officially to the podium. Kevin Pesur, ladies and gentlemen, takes 3rd here at round 4 of Drift Masters, and that's 2 podiums in 1 season, by far his best result. And I am telling you now, he's going to start clawing points up the championship as everyone else starts to fall away. Can he keep this momentum as we move into Riga? Look at this. You can see what it means to him. He's so happy, so focused. He's going to take it back to the back end of the grid, and we'll see that car come back out when we do our podium ceremony at the end of the day. Yeah. Jacob, it's been unbelievable today, but it's not over just yet.
No, not even close. The best part is yet to happen, and that is our finals. Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Well, I think I'm ready too. And I think everyone here at Mondello Park is ready. I hope you guys are ready at home because, ladies and gentlemen, it's the boy we've all been waiting for. It is the final. Well, here we go. A man that cut his teeth on this track many moons ago. A man that learned his skill here on this track alongside some of the best in the business. And alongside him will pull up a man who broke a streak that for many, many years couldn't be beaten. Piotr Wiecek broke the Irish streak and took top step on the podium for the first time ever in Irish history. Conor Shanahan this weekend will hope that that doesn't happen again and that he can stand on the top step of the podium here at Drift Masters and put an end to Peter Wiecek's reign this weekend.
This is history making right now, and it is so much on the line for these drivers, and we get to be passengers alongside what is sure to be a battle that we will never ever forget. Piotr Wiecek takes the lead, Conor Shanahan in the chase.
And here we go. The time for these two guys talking, the celebrations, the happy smiles, well, they're faded away at the moment because the laser-focused eyes come out between both of them. They stare down a track that they both know so well. They look into a blind corner with a grandstand packed full of people. They give the nod to the start line Marshall Martin. He presses the button for what will be one of the last times this weekend. The light goes green and Wiecek fires that car through the start line and through the gears as Shanahan jumps straight onto the back bumper. He fires it alongside him. They go angle for angle, matched mirror image as they transition to outside zone 4. Wiecek stalls up, can't get deep into that zone. And Shanahan follows him through. As Shanahan pops through the smoke, Wiecek goes for the wall. Shanahan goes for the door. They both put back bumper to back bumper on the wall and across the line.
Both drivers fighting those nerves and fighting everything in them to not mess up and having to push at full pace throughout this entire thing. Incredible, right from initiation, right from the lights going out, these drivers just completely at it. You can see here, Conor Shanahan even just leading up Piotr Wiecek, trying to get him to make that first move, and there's Piotr Wiecek getting it out there, riding that line perfectly, getting really deep to that first inside clip. Look at the angle, the snap out, and how stable he is coming through that compression zone, and the suspension being put to full use as he transitions back out, and you can see through the window of Conor Shanahan hunting down the Polish driver, Piotr Wiecek, as they come through this outside zone. Look at Conor Shanahan trying to punch through the door of Piotr Wiecek, who's adding even more angle and more speed, and these drivers putting everything on the line through every transition. And then right here, as we come to this last big section, Conor needs to reel in the multi-time champion that is Piotr Wiecek. They come through the line. This is setting up for what is going to be an incredible run to come after it, but taking this all in, it is going to be nuts what both drivers are going to need to do to take home the win here.
Unbelievable, these two guys going wheel to wheel, head to head, no messing around, no games, just man versus man and machine versus machine. And you could see there, the Shanahan was pushing 10 times harder. You could see mistakes creeping in from Wiecek there as he failed to get deep into that outside zone 4 after he transitioned into it. Shanahan was hungry for it. He could see the mistakes from Wiecek and he was going to take all the advantage of them. But now he sits in that lead position. Now he has the pressure on his shoulders. The man that had the perfect or almost perfect qualifying run sits alongside him. We wait to get the thumbs up from our drivers. We wait to get the thumbs up from our start line Marshall Martin. The cars need to be called. The sun is out in Ireland. The heat is rising in the cars, on the track, in the grandstand, in the commentary booth as these two guys, these two heavy hitters in European drifting now look alongside each other. The doors are going to slam shut. The cars are going to slam into gear. Martin gives a thumbs up. The light will go green, and this could be the final run of round 4 of 2025 as they hammer through the gears. Wiecek is focused, he knows what he needs to do, and he mirrors the angle, and he's closer than Shanahan on initiation, but Shanahan's cleaner than Wiecek. Shanahan gets into the outside zone, Wiecek follows him. Oh, he tags the door, almost puts them both into a spin. They transition through the smoke as both cars go wheel to wheel. The bumper comes off, and Wiecek's car as he pushes Shanahan across the line.
A battle for the ages right here in Ireland. Both drivers putting absolutely absolutely everything on the line for that. That was incredible. Their first runs were not perfect, so they come back and push even harder. This is absolutely wild. Look at Connor Shanahan and the commitment coming through there, but Piotr Wiecek completely painted to the side of that 86. Look at this, mirroring all the way through, on the wheel of him, through the entire thing, transitioning at the perfect time, in the perfect place with the perfect angle is Piotr Wiecek, while Connor Shanahan out front, driving to the edge of the track in every single portion. But Piotr Wiecek right there, rubbing the wheel, trying to take the paint off the 86 as they come through, and Connor Shanahan not blinking, not phased through any of it. Just a normal day here at Mondello for him as they come through one of our last outside zones. Piotr Wiecek punches through the smoke, wheel on wheel as we come through. This is epic. Wow.
Unbelievable. 2 incredible lead runs, 2 incredible chase runs, door to door, wheel to wheel. These 2 guys push harder than anyone else and both hungry for their top step on the podium. Wiecek wants to get himself back into contention for something this year. Shanahan wants to lead the championship with rock-solid points as we move into the final 3 rounds this year. They both look at the big screen. They're both eager to find out who will take it through. And it looks like the judges' decisions are final. Who will be the winner here at round 4 at Mondello Park in 2025 as Shanahan drops off the hands device, the hat is on. He looks across both drivers, eager to find out the decision.
I'm holding my breath, Ian. I'm holding my breath.
Here we go. It's in. Who's it going to be? Left for Shanahan, right for Wiecek. It's 1 vote for a 1 more time. It's a 1 more time! David Kalas, it's unanimous. A 1 more time. You can't do this to us.
I need to do that because that battle was really awesome. We really like that. We saw some mistakes of one driver in the lead. We saw some mistakes, one driver on the chase. But however, that battle, that what the final. We really want to see this 1 more time.
Well, there we go. He wants to see it 1 more time, Jacob.
And they have to step up from here. I don't know where and I don't know how, but they know that as drivers that if they want to win this now, it's got to be more.
I spotted a mistake from Peter Wiecek, so you can just come back on air for us quickly, David. We've got some time because they've got to go against some tyres and fuel. I spotted a mistake from Peter Wiecek into outside zone 4. He didn't get deep into it. Did you? Yes. Is that what you were picking up?
Yeah. If we are looking exactly on the mistakes, we can look on Piotr. He was not deep in outer zone 4. He put it the wheel on the curb at inner clip 2, which is also a mistake. And that was very slight drop of the wheel at outer zone 6. So that was the mistakes of the lead of Piotr. If we look on the mistakes of Connor, he was a little bit more left foot braking at the end of outer zone 4, which caused a hiccup of the chaser. And then if we look on both chase runs, on Connor's run, he was a little bit out of synchronization from 4 to 5, from outer zone 4 to outer zone 5, but he had really good proximity. If we go to Piotr's run, he had even better proximity. He was way better synchronized on his transitions, and there was maybe a little contact at outer zone 6, but we were not taking that as a mistake.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, I spotted the mistakes from Peter Wiecek, and we're going to take a look back at these runs, and I see it straight away, you know, it was incredible. But as they fire in, yeah, look, wheels on the curb, as David said, you know, that was, you've been explaining that to everybody all weekend, but look at that, look, failed to get into that zone early enough and deep enough, and it kind of did upset Connor Shanahan's line, but it kind of gave him also the opportunity to dive on the door, Jacob, you know, and
I mean, both drivers had those mistakes in that first lead run, and I think they knew that. They knew they had to push with it. It really, for Piotr, he's like, okay, I wasn't a perfect lead, so I need to get that dial back in. But yeah, here we go to what is just absolute insanity. I mean, Ian, I've never seen drivers push this hard before. It's nuts. Like, they're just on it through the entire run.
And you see there the tag on the door, and David Kalas just told us about it. It was due to the heavy amount of left foot braking. That's what caused that contact. And Connor Shanahan there deemed, you know, knocked some points off, and hence not being able to split these two guys. They have to go at it again. So there we go. We can see a camera shot down there in the paddock as Connor Shanahan's car gets some fresh tyres upon it up, some pre-flight checks once again for these two guys. Jacob, this is how the championship now starts to evolve. We see it years and years and years. Every year we see this happens. You know, you get some really good rounds, some really good driving. Gets to like round 3, round 4, things start to get a little heavy. And now as we get into the final end of the championship, we cross over that midway point. These guys start to push harder than they have before because every point counts now. You know, you can't have a bad round from here on out.
Yeah, and really for Connor, this is all about trying to just continue and extend that lead as much as he possibly can. But for Piotr, it's trying to get back into this chase. And, you know, if Piotr gets a win here and then has incredible rounds for the rest of the season, there is nothing saying he can't fight back for this. Whereas for Connor, he's got to get that gap out there because everybody that's chasing in behind him are driving incredibly well. He kind of, not that he got lucky by any means, but having some of his competitors that are close on his tail in the championship race go out a little bit earlier, that might allow him to breathe a bit, but he really does need absolutely every point that he can get at this part of the season.
He certainly does. And, you know, we go to Riga next. We go to Latvia, one of the, you know, fan favourites on the calendar, one that a lot of us guys love going to because it's an incredible track that is high speed, high danger. It's risk reward at Riga. But you've got to remember, both of these guys have won there.
Yeah.
Both of these guys have been crowned the king of Riga.
Yeah, and really, it's almost a battle unto itself. That, like, becoming the king of Riga.
Now, that is a war of nutrition.
Right. It's you know, you can win a championship, and that's amazing. But there's that part. I mean, I've seen it in the drivers' profiles. They will make a point to say, I won in Riga.
Yeah, the king of Riga.
The king of Riga. And that's in the notes for both of these drivers because it says something. But for here, right now, Piotr Wiecek to kind of take down this incredible Irish driver in front of his home crowd, that's a little bit more motivation, right? And for Connor Shanahan to hold the country on his shoulders, all these people excited to be here and just stoked to cheer on this incredible athlete, that is just either empowerment or an incredible amount of pressure.
I think for Connor Shanahan at this moment in time in the championship as we sit now as well, it's domination.
Yeah.
If he comes off of a win in Finland and he wins in Ireland, he goes to Riga with far more confidence than any other driver on the grid because he's won there before. He knows the track like the back of his hand, and he could go into Riga saying, well, I'm leading the championship and I'm 2 rounds deep, unbeaten.
Yeah, and does it... You know, does that give you that confidence or does that build complacency? I couldn't see that with a Connor Shanahan, but really, once you get up there, once you get that points lead, you start to think about things and you're not as hungry to drive and you maybe don't take the risk that you need to take to win a championship. As we see a beautiful split screen
Look at this.
of both drivers heading back out to that track. This is it. I don't know how you refocus. How do you get back into the zone after having such an incredible battle? You've got to lock in. You've got to be ready. And these drivers need to be 100% focused. They just did what is one of the most epic battles I've ever seen. And now they've got to come back and somehow top that.
Well, they have to top it. There has to be no mistakes. There has to be no errors whatsoever from either one of the drivers as they both now pull up to the back end of the grid, ready to warm tyres. Look at this, Wiecek taking the opportunity to warm tyres as he makes his way to the grid down the back. There has to be perfect from both guys.
It does, and the words of Connor Shanahan are echoing in my head right now when he talks about that wreckers or checkers. What does that mean for him right now? And Piotr Wiecek almost perfect through this entire event, and now starting to see some cracks in the armor. So we've got both drivers desperate for this win. One ready to put everything on the line to just do it in front of the home crowd, and the other one absolutely perfect and now starting to show a few flaws. Where will they meet? Where will they come head to head as both drivers get to the burnout box and ready to do battle?
Well, we're looking at Connor Shanahan that didn't get back on the podium until just a few weeks ago in Finland. The last time he had a podium was in Riga last year, where he won the King of Riga. Now he kind of thinks that maybe he has got what it takes still. He is back on form again. He struggled with that mindset. He spoke about that quite a lot. Am I right to be here anymore? Yes, I won a championship, but then I fell away. I couldn't get back into the fight. Everyone was evolving around him as a driver. And even last year when Laurie Heinonen took that championship hands down, kind of said it was a tough battle last year to keep the mindset going. This year he comes back refreshed, a new mindset. He says, I can do it. I still have got it. I want to be a 2-time Drift Masters champion.
And for Piotr, I mean, the build back story 2024, not the season he was hoping it would be, coming off of, you know, those crazy championships and just dominant performance. And even this season, we take you all the way back, that gigantic hit that he had in Spain, having to jump into a different car at this point and get back and get that confidence of, you know, that can put fear into a driver. That can put doubt into a driver. You have a wreck like that, you see what can happen to your vehicle when you have a crazy moment. So Piotr's got to be fighting through that too. Both drivers coming back from doubt and now have the opportunity to once again place themselves as the best driver here in Ireland.
Well, this is it. This will be the final battle of round 4 in 2025, because after this we don't have any more times. The decision has to be made right here, right now, after these 2 runs. Piotr Wiecek, our first place qualifier, pulls up to the start line. The Polishman looks across and can see the Irishman that has battled him and chased him around Europe for many, many years, and a man that's determined now to win that second championship. Wiecek pulls the visor down and he says, I have to get it done right here, right now. There's no messing around. He wants to take the top step on the podium, but this young man right here will try and stop him as he slots that Red Bull Toyota GT86 into gear and comes off the line. This is it for the final time this weekend. The battle begins as Wiecek fires in. Shanahan goes closer than he did before. Now starts to look for the side of that Toyota Supra as he transitions bumper to bumper. They both get into outside zone 4. No mistakes this time for either guy as they fire through. Shanahan looks for the door. He creeps up the inside as the tail lights disappear from the back of that Supra. Shanahan goes for the door across the line.
Just another monumental run from both of these drivers. Piotr Wiecek cleaning up what he needed to clean up in the lead there, knowing those mistakes of the past and completely wiping his memory of it to go back out and throw down what looks like another incredible qualifying lead run, where Connor Shanahan not giving Piotr an inch, not giving him absolutely any room to start to pull away. And you can see it just staring him down as they shift through the gears, waiting for his moment to strike. They come through the hill, they come through that compression. There's Piotr pushing the car out to that outside zone, and Connor now starts to hunt things in and really pull in, get to that outside zone. And here we go. Connor delaying that transition, waiting for his moment to strike. You can see it right there, that small delay, and then now dives back in to get into the outside zone. And Piotr gets on the left foot brake to hold it in to make sure he's not coming out of that zone. And Connor Shanahan then decides he's going to strike in the final moment while taillights explode, bumpers are disappearing, fans are on their feet. I'm almost out of breath, Ian. This is wild. What is happening now?
Well, I've got some bad news. Connor Shanahan has debeaded a tyre. The news came to me during the replay as you were hyping that battle. I think that this could be it. We're going to try and find out. There is the rest of the tyre, or the tyre itself. It is absolute heartbreak. We're checking though. The judges now have to go back and look at the replay to see was anyone at fault for this.
This is not just an open and shut case, but yeah, would that have been a front tire then that would have come off? Wow.
So we're waiting to see how the judges look at this, if it was a single fault or if it was caused by Wiecek in any way. The judges now looking back at the replay, trying to find out where it was, what happened, how did it happen.
It looks like, yeah, Piotr, I mean, on a really tight line through there. Connor still holding on to those front wheels at that point. Where did this go wrong for Mr. Shanahan? In that transition, can we see everything looks good through here?
It doesn't look to me like there was...
Was it at
it has to be, it has to have been there over the finish line. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
And I'm sure that happened at or on the finish line. What a way to end round 4, Jacob. We were getting ready for possibly what was going to be.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there you go.
The wheel
right,
just
so there
exploding.
you go, in the drone's face. And it's down to the judges now to decide, if that was over the finish line. Because we're in no position to call that. Look at that, completely destroyed the wheel.
That is wild. What a crazy way as the judges still continue to go back through the replays. That drone footage being absolutely crucial in how they take a look at this situation. I think this is nuts.
Wow, how does that not hit the drone? So there we go, a front wheel D-bead for Connor Shanahan. The rim completely destroyed, and I mean,
just an insane series of events.
Yeah. And I mean, look, you guys know the rules. We don't have 5-minute rules. We can't change wheels. And I'm hearing word in my ear that Connor Shanahan caused it himself. Wiecek is not at fault for the incident, which means Shanahan out of competition.
Wow.
Wow. What a way to end round 4. High drama.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it had to be something crazy. It had to be something epic to get the whole thing through. And Piotr, I mean, maybe not the way he wanted it to go, but the relief, I mean, just wild as Connor Shanahan. Just, I mean, deservedly so, incredibly upset.
Well, we're going to have to go to our judges. We will have to make it official. Our judges just trying to take back some of the footage there. David Kalas, not the way we wanted that to end. It was an incredible battle. We was building it up to be one of the best finals we've seen here in Mondello Park, but you deemed Wiecek not at fault. It was Connor's own incident.
Yeah, we've been we were like very deliberately looking on that situation. And we did not saw any mistake from the leader. There was like no slowing down. We checked also all the data which we are having available. There is no slowing down. The reducement of the angle happened actually after the contact. So there is no possibility of mistake of the leader. The contact happened after the finish line, but still we were checking if there was any mistake from the leader. But the leader did not do anything unpredictable, so we cannot blame the leader for this mistake.
Okay, thank you very much, David. A tough decision for you guys to end this weekend, and unfortunately not the way that anybody wanted this to go, especially Connor Shanahan, as you can see in the car, visibly distressed. And Piotr Wiecek there just finished off some tyres and finished off the end of his weekend by putting on a show for the fans here. He jumps out of the car, and you know what, for me, Peter will be completely... he would not want that to happen. He would have wanted a battle to the end.
Yeah, for sure. All of these drivers, all these competitors, they want, if they're going to go out, if they're going to win, if they're going to lose, they want it to be completely head-to-head throughout the whole thing. And having that discussion, I don't think Connor's blaming anybody at this point. It's just one of those things. And having that discussion about what was going on coming across the finish line, it just shows that these drivers need to battle it all the way through. And big hugs there. Just great competitors. You need to be pushing all the way through, even at the finish line. And unfortunately, just a little bit too much for Mr. Shanahan.
Well, there we go. We need to make it official. Who's going to be the winner of round 4 here at Drift Masters? It's an easy one. It's Piotr Wiecek gets the win and wins round 4 of Drift Masters 2025. Connor Shanahan takes second step on the podium. It may seem like the worst result for him right now, but nevertheless, it is a massive points haul for that young man, and a man that still leads the championship after an incredible weekend. His smiles all round in the end in front of packed out grandstands here in Ireland. Jacob, you're going to run off to do the podium.
I am.
I'm going to let you enjoy that one. It's going to be a wicked one. And thank you for joining me once again in the commentary booth. I'm going to hand it down to Becky Evans, who is on the ground, who is going to interview the man that absolutely dominated this weekend. Becky, you're with Peter. What a weekend for that man.
Absolutely, Ian. What an incredible weekend entirely. Starting off with that incredible score in qualifying and now battling all the way to that top step. Peter, I know when we had a chat, you said, you know what, we'll just calm it down a little bit. We'll enjoy this for a second. But here you are. You did it. I can't even imagine how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, I'm in heaven right now. I'm not in here. I'm somewhere else, to be honest. I need to come back because I want to enjoy this moment as much as possible. Big thanks to Connor. Congratulations for him. He was driving really well. I was observing his lead runs and chase runs. Everything was really repeatable and nice. I had really a lot of luck during this event. I was the luckiest guy probably in here. But to be honest, after all the bad luck what we have on the past rounds, I don't mind. I don't mind to have luck at once this season. So, oh my God, big thanks to my family, to my team, to my sponsors, and everyone who was involved in building this beautiful car. We finally, after 2 years of developing, we made it. Yeah, it feels amazing, and I cannot stress enough how thankful I am to everybody, and then to the whole crowd who was gathered here to cheering me up. to Irish fans, to Polish fans. Dziękuję bardzo, że jesteście. You're the best guys. Thank you very much. Really, it was pleasure to drive for you. So, woo, let's celebrate together now. Yeah!
Peter, you know, as you were saying, you've had a bit of bad luck. Can we safely say that the Peter Wiecek that we know so well is back?
Fingers crossed, you know, I hope. I feel really amazing after this. And yeah. I need to come back.
Okay, Peter, well, congratulations. You have taken the top spot. Number one, first at round 4, the Drift Masters Championship here at Mondello Park. Your 3rd win at this track. Guys, what a round.
Becky, what a round indeed. What an incredible weekend here in Ireland. It's had its ups and downs from the moment we step foot here on Irish soil with unpredictable qualifying and some crazy battles, and this is how the point standings are at the end of this event. Peter Wiecek bags every single point available. 109, Conor Shanahan takes the 2nd amount of points, Kevin Pesur takes the 3rd amount of points, and Marco Zacharil this weekend bagging a whole load. But Kvia could have bagged himself some all-important points there and bags 51 in a hunt for a championship move up. So there we go, scenes of how these two guys celebrated at the end of the weekend there, and Conor Shanahan congratulating Peter, and a little bit of a deliberation and discussion of maybe who was at fault. But let's take a look at the championship standings as they sit right now. Conor Shanahan still leads the championship with 251 points, but Peter Wiecek jumps himself up into 2nd place with 191. Oliver Randalu drops down into 3rd place with 168, and you can see Kevin Pesur jumps himself back up into contention with 168. Kvia, though, hot on his heels with 163, and we lose out of that. James Dean tumbles down the order. Jack Shanahan now sits in 8th place. Heinonen in 7th after that engine failure on track. Korpulinski gets himself into the conversation, and Randalu will be very happy to still be in the top 3 of the championship after the end of this weekend. Well, there we go. The two guys have finished on the top steps of the podium. Conor Shanahan and Peter Wiecek as they go off to receive their awards and celebrate the weekend here in Mondello Park. That is it. Peter Wiecek wins round 4 of Drift Masters 2025. Next, we go to Riga, and let's have a look at what we expect to see there in Riga, baby. Well, this fast, deadly track always throws up some good conversation. The grandstands are packed all round. We have the best driver grid, the best driver parade, and as the smoke seeps through the forest, we get some unbelievable driving. That super fast initiation with no runoff down into that treacherous roundabout where we've seen door-on-door action for many, many years. Who will be crowned the King of Riga 2025? There's only one way to find out, and that is to join us in Riga in just 3 weeks' time. From me, from Jacob, from everyone here at Drift Masters, and from Becky on the ground, it's goodbye. We'll see you in Riga.